All right, hello and welcome. Sunday Speedrunner Spotlight. It's Sunday. You know what time it is. Time to talk about speedrunning. That's the goal. And today, somewes is here. That's you.
Hey everybody, what's up? Glad to be
Welcome.
here. Thank you.
Yes. So a little late because I had some life issues come up, let's just say. And there might be some like audio troubles today. Didn't have enough time to fix stuff up, so hopefully it's all good.
Yeah, hopefully, if it sounds like I'm in a helicopter, that's my microphone. It's an issue with
We
Discord.
blame
I can't fix
Discord
it.
for all of our
I've
troubles.
I have tried for weeks to get this helicopter sound fixed, but it's still going on. Hopefully, it's not too annoying.
Yeah, it cuts in and out, so we'll just hope it cooperates for us. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
and then
see.
hopefully one of the viewers will know how to fix this, and then we'll get it
Oh, it's
taken care of.
smart. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. Or a YouTube commenter, yeah, they'll just be like, "Oh, I know the issue," and then we're good.
yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
a
but just for
little,
the record, I
yeah.
have I have tried every possible Discord audio setting and everything else, but nothing has fixed it yet.
Well, we're on the hunt for the solution.
Yeah.
The long battle with Discord issues, which are very prevalent. So anyway, speed running. We like that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Off to a great
Yeah,
start.
most of the time anyway.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. So, when did you start?
When did I start speedrunning? I think my first recorded run is 2015. I think somewhere near the end of 2015, I did a Super Mario World run. And I think it was somewhere around 2013. I saw a Reddit post that was some GDQ. I can't remember which one it was. And I started looking into it and found Speedruns Live, Speed Demos Archive, and saw like a Super Mario World race. And it looked like a lot of fun. So I started learning some of the Mario World tricks and then eventually did a run of that. It's one of my favorite games. So it was like a good first speed run for me.
Mhm. No, yeah, Mario World's a great first speed run. 11 exit, super easy to
Yeah.
just go for it. So, uh,
Yeah.
you started off glitchless, I assume. Then not none of the.
I started off with orb.
Oh,
It was
really? Okay.
before the cloud route existed. So yeah, I learned the orb trick. And what's crazy is like I had learned all these levels and practiced everything. I wasn't nervous about doing anything, but I can still remember the first time I had live split going. I start live split and my heart rate immediately shot up. Like as soon as I started timing myself and having that extra level of pressure, made it a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Because it's like I could do these levels individually all day, but then as soon as there's a timer, it became a lot more stressful for sure.
Yeah. I remember starting off myself. I was like, "Oh man, playing the individual levels. This is so fun. Let's try run." It's like, "Oh, this is what it's like."
Yeah, yeah. Another one thing that like really got me into speedrunning. Other than that, it was watching on Speedruns Live. I would watch the Super Metroid races every week.
Mhm.
So a lot of like all the first people I followed, it was like Super Mario World runners, Super Metroid runners, and I had a similar thing where I practiced Super Metroid so much, like the whole first 10 minutes of the run up to Kraid, and I had my movement like pretty crisp, uh, and I was just practicing it over and over again. And then as soon as I tried to time myself to see how I compared to other people, I was so far behind because you don't realize how many little mistakes add up, even just in the first 5 minutes of the run. So I
Mhm.
would be like in the first 5 minutes, I'm already like a minute behind. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this game is crazy.
Yep,
Like really, movement, like the tech is just like really intense.
definitely is. So, starting with Mario World. It's funny going straight for orb, just off rip.
Yeah, yeah, well, that was like one of the things that got me excited about it. I was like, look at this cool glitch, and instantly, just in the level immediately. So definitely crashed the game a lot on my runs.
Mhm.
Trying to do that, I did like the safer setup for the orb glitch. I know around that time people were doing a way crazier um, strat to get the orb, where you're more likely to crash it. But I had enough trouble with the safe one.
Mhm. Yeah, it's funny that you screw something up in that game and the game just stops working. But
Yeah.
it's funny because I don't think orb is considered arbitrary code execution like cloud is.
Oh, I didn't realize that cloud was considered differently.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to like, do certain inputs. Like if you just hit the enemies or whatever and then do the thing, like it doesn't work. There's it's a lot more complicated than that. I think
Yeah, you're right. I
Bismuth
forgot
made
about
that
that.
video about it,
Holding
and
inputs.
Bismuth, no, Bismuth explained, yeah, the whole speed run, and then there was also the retro game mechanics explained video about it. So that's where I'm getting my information. But yeah, so I think like the tasks, like the non, like the ace tasks of Mario World, just like the done really quickly, like less than a minute, whatever. And then the like non-ace any percent doesn't get cloud, it gets orb because that's not considered ace, and then cloud
Okay.
is. So it's
Yeah,
very
that's
interesting.
interesting.
That's why Bismuth had to recreate the task for his video with the cloud, like the human theory tasks, because that's not considered a category that people actually try to task. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been crazy over the years seeing the times go down. Even in the last year, there's been people still improving the Mario World record.
Oh, it's so
So
good now. And I don't even know
yeah,
how. Like,
yeah, it's like they keep squeezing out entire seconds on that run for like all those categories, for all the like any percent categories.
hmm yeah, it hit 9:39. It happened finally. And I just don't know where the time is. I look at all the runs, they look exactly the same, but there's like minus point 0.1. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
sure.
that's another game where it's hard for me to realize where I'm actually losing time, because I'll play the levels and I think I do them cleanly, and then I'm already 20 seconds behind the record by the time I get into Star World or
hmm
something.
Yeah, I
I,
have
I was
no idea.
trying last time I ran that. I was doing the cloud route. I can't even remember where my time is, but definitely I never hit my goal with that. But yeah, it's so easy to lose time in that run. Just very small movement mistakes, or like optimizations that I'm not doing in every single level.
hmm Yeah. I don't know. That game is weird. It's very complicated to me. Like because it looks so like not complicated, but then it is. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
and it's so weird. And
Yeah,
then
and back when when I first learned that game, it was around the time that people were doing low percent. So I used to watch Dram do low percent all the time. Or is that what it's called? The small Mario only? I can't remember
small
exactly. Where
only,
you like don't get
yeah.
power ups. I think that's what it's called. I was watching that a lot, and I had learned pretty much the whole run doing that, and I also had learned almost the entire 96 exit route as well. And I like
Mm.
went through and I would practice all that stuff, but never did any attempts of it. I'm kind of glad, because that's like a whole nother time sink.
Oh,
Uh,
that is a long one.
yeah, for sure.
So, hour and 20-ish minutes. God,
Yeah,
that's a lot of Mario.
yeah. But back then, I mean, that was like 10 years ago or a little more. Or I guess it was about 10 years ago. Tons of people were running 96 exit, Lunar Dragon, like No Cape No Star World, and all those were super cool to watch. I don't think as many people run it anymore. But I know that some people picked up Lunar Dragon again recently, and that's just a really cool run to watch.
There's so many categories for that game.
Yeah,
Just way
yeah,
too many.
for sure.
But I guess they're all cool. I don't
Yeah,
know. Too many to watch though. There's like 30 of them on the main board, and then there's category extensions. It
yeah.
makes
I feel like
us
with
look
that one,
pathetic.
if you're pretty comfortable with 96 exit, then you can probably pick up 10 other categories pretty easily.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
all the
That
category extensions.
yeah. That game's been on my list to like actually try at for a while, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It
you should give it a try.
looks scary. I have an 1106 glitchless, which I feel is okay. Like I did it
That's
for a
good.
12-hour challenge.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, it was fun, but I'm like at the point where it's like where do I save time? Like there's
Yeah,
obviously
just get the orb.
just
There's
get
an
the
instant time
orb.
save. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing they do now though is like each category is separate, like
Oh yeah, it's
cloud.
like a subcategory.
Yeah, and it used to all be under one thing where you just set like what route you did. So it's kind of not
Yeah,
the same ish if you do a different category. I don't know. It's weird.
true. True. Yeah. I kind of like having the different categories like that, so it's just easier to filter them and then see them, and actually have like a rank for each different one, as opposed to just like same board with where you have to filter it to see it. It's like an official category.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense to just. I don't know. It's nice to also see where you are compared to everything too, because it is all just 11 exit. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just my thing. Makes it a little weirder, but I don't know. The game's cool. I've only Seth Bling was kind of teaching me how Zero works at GDQ last year, but that you need to like have another controller and have it be clamping down buttons, and it gets weird.
Yeah. Yeah. That run is wild.
Yeah, so be cool to break into some Mario World someday, but
Well, I hope you do.
I hope I do too.
Be
We'll
fun to
see.
watch. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's a good speed run, and again, definitely great to start off with. Like 11 exit glitchless, especially.
Yeah.
It's a perfect starter speed run for anyone. That's why I think it's so popular. So it's so
Yeah. I
easily
agree.
to just jump in and start doing attempts of. So you started with Mario World, and then Super Metroid was the other like starting run, was it?
Yeah, think I think I was doing Super Metroid before I moved on to SMB1. I think that's when I switched. So, like I said, I loved watching the races, and so the main reason I was learning Super Metroid is so I could do the Friday night race. It's like an 80% race, and then I think there was a 100% race after that every week. I learned it. I started doing attempts. Never once did I do the Friday night race,
Hmm.
and I kind of regret that at this point because that was like the whole reason that I did it. But yeah, Super Metroid I still consider one of the best speed games. It's like the game itself is amazing, but as a speed game, it's incredible. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to even though that's not my main game, I would still consider that like the best. It's like it's fun for me to watch, and it's super fun to play because you're always improving. There's always just like small optimizations you can do everywhere, and there's always something to work on. The
Mm-hmm.
game, like the mechanics feel really smooth, the movement feels really good, but then you can also just make it as difficult as you want,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you can take slightly easier, safer strats, and then still get like a really good time.
Man, there's even like different routing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I never learned, or I've never done an attempt of the newer 80% route, but I have learned most of the tricks that are involved there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to do that. Like I would love to just go in and practice a lot of the tech to see if I can do it. And that was one of the main reasons I even started speedrunning. Like with Super Mario World, watching people do the shell jump or try to do the shell jump, I can still remember that was just like I was like I'm going to do that. I'm going to practice that so that I can do that. And I remember before I had a game saver to do save states on console, I was doing it on emulator so that I could at least learn all the inputs for that. But yeah, when I was doing Super Metroid, that's how it was before the practice ROM. Um, it was game saver, so you know you have like one save state, and you have to have like a bunch of save files or like multiple cartridges, and then go through and like load up from a save file, and then just go through like that. Now it's awesome because you have the
Mm-hmm.
practice ROM on you know your flash cart. You can just like jump anywhere, like use a preset, and you have the right ammo and power ups for that part of the run. Um, it's it's changed. I would say speedrunning has changed so much from when I started to where it is now, because so many popular
Mhm.
games have practice ROMs, and it just makes it more efficient for people to practice, and then it makes it so new runners can come in and they get good really quick because they
Mhm.
have all this like knowledge and tools to get in there. So I think that's so cool with speedrunning. It's cool
Oh
to
yeah.
see how it's changed over the years.
Yeah, it's funny um to like when I started and compare that to now. Like especially weird because like when I started watching, I think of like like, oh, you've been running for a long time. And now like there compared to now it's like, oh, it was only like the amount of time I've been now was like triple that amount. Like it wasn't actually that long.
Yeah,
But still like so much has happened since then. And it's so weird to think about it in those like time scales.
yeah, for sure. And then so with Super Metroid, I was like really into it. I think at the time I had a 49 something any percent. This is like older out. And I was going to go for at least a 47. I wanted like a 45. And around that time, um, I had also been watching a lot of SMB1. When I first started following SMB1, it was just Andrew G, and Andrew was just at the top, and he was, he was just in my mind, he was the best ever, like the best Mario runner. And I remember watching him just constantly reset because at the time he was going for two bump 4-2, which is not the fastest 4-2 anymore, but at the time, like that was the fastest way to do it. And I would just watch him just go in the pipe reset, go in the pipe reset. And I'm like, what is going on? Like this trick is impossible. This is crazy. And that was before it was before 457. So it was before there was like people were doing bullet bill glitch. But then uh I started watching Darbian stream. I can't remember how I found Darbian stream. He might have been racing with a bunch of other people that I followed, and I found his stream that way. Um, but I saw him getting to World 8 like every single attempt. And I was like, what is he doing different here? Like, how is this trick so easy suddenly? I'm like, oh, you can do it just a little bit slower and then you get there all the time. And so he was going for bullet bill glitch. And then that was kind of, it changed my mind about the game because when I was watching Andrew do this super difficult trick, I was like, I'm not doing that. There's no way in the world I would ever do that. But then after seeing that there's an easier way to do it that's slightly slower, I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm in. Um, I would love to learn this game. And also around that time, Darbian had done a tutorial for SMB1 any percent, and there was the 12-hour challenge. So I was like, all right, I am going to use Darbian's tutorial, 12 hours. And, like I said, I was still running Super Metroid. I was like, I'm going to see how far I can get in SMB1 and then go back to Super Metroid. And I think at the end of the 12 hours, I had like a low 5 minute time. It might have been like a 5:03 or 5:01 or something. And then I was like, I'm right here. I'm just going to go ahead and get a sub 5 and then move on. Uh, and I did that. I think around the time that I got a sub 5, there were like 5 to 7 people that had sub 5s. And I was like, well, if I just clean up this run and save a little bit of time, I can get a 458, right? And I can get a little bit higher in the rankings. I could get like top 5. Then I did that, but also I had been practicing bullet bill glitch a ton. Um, so it got to the point where I was like, well, I can do what I just did, but then do this bullet bill glitch that I'm already like pretty good at. And so it was just one thing after another. I remember after I got a 457, I think I switched to lost levels for a while, um, and I can't remember what time I got there. But then I eventually came back, of course, to SMB1 later once flagpole glitch setup was discovered. And then that changed everything about that run. But I never had any intention of pushing my time down. I never had any intention of going for a record in SMB1. It was seriously just like a 12-hour side project that got out of control.
That's how it goes.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
when you got 57, record was 57 still, right? Because that was before
mhm.
FPG. So,
Yeah, it was. I can't remember the exact time. It was like it might have been like a mid 57.
mhm.
Honestly, I can't remember, but it wasn't too far off. There was a while where I was doing world record attempts,
Mm.
and I might have got the 4:2 frame rule like once or twice ever at that point, and like in a run, and so I kind of quit that. I was like, I'm not going to grind this out. This kind of sucks. There wasn't a good setup to get the right amount of pixels because you wanted to get 20 pixels, and there
Hmm.
wasn't like a really consistent way to do that at the time, or nothing that people knew about.
Hmm.
Uh, so I kind of moved on. I was like, there's no point to grind out this.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah,
Two bump sucks.
yeah,
It is one of the tricks of all time, for sure. But yeah, it's crazy that like so many records had that and BBG back then.
yeah, yeah. Like the back then it was so reset heavy in 4.2 that's like the main reason it became not fun for me to do that. I was like, I'd rather just learn a new game or do something else than just grind out this one level over and over again.
Hmm. Yeah, it's very dumb. As someone
Yeah,
who's tried it, I've never had to like actually do it, luckily, but God, is it not fun? Actually, what's funny, I have a memory of this is All Night Nippon. There's a Koopa that falls into like where the mushroom is, so like there's that wall there. You can't do anything with that. So to get the fastest frame roll, you have to get two bump.
oh
And
yeah,
I've
that
done it
sucks.
before, but you don't want to have to. But it is funny that like it's not like useless still. There's probably some other way at this point, but I don't know. That's
Yeah,
the same game but different. So
yeah, that's another game I really wanted to learn. But back then I didn't have a way to actually do save states with that ROM. So
yeah.
I never practiced it. I'm pretty sure the EverDrive Pro could probably do save states with that, right?
Oh yeah. I
Yeah, I can't remember. I used to have Power Pack, and there was some issue where you couldn't do save states on with
mm,
that FDS ROM.
yeah. I'm trying to remember if I just could I use save states on the original. I don't remember. But yeah, like save states work perfectly fine on the Pro, and you get your 99 like you would or however many. So it's very nice, very helpful. You should see
Yeah,
how many
that
save states I have for warpless lost levels. It's like I'm maxing out everything.
yeah, that's like a perfect use case for having 99. That game right there,
Oh
or that
yeah,
run.
so many, so many save states. I have like one for each level twice for like different routes. So
Yeah, that is it's such a better way to practice having the EverDrive Pro with all those save states
mhm,
versus I used to have to on the Power Pack make a bunch of different slot files for each
mhm,
game, and then you could have like four plus your current one, and it was annoying, I
mhm.
guess. And so now with the EverDrive Pro, it's just you don't have to make slot files. Just go in there and start making save states and
Oh,
practicing.
it's so nice. But yeah, I mean, I had the regular EverDrive for a long time, and that only lets you have one. So you would have to like make
Oh
those
gosh,
certain files. There's like some file format you could make, and then you could load that, but it just took way too long. So love the Pro, would recommend. Saved my life, but also yeah, practice ROMs have helped with that too, because that makes it easier to reload stuff in its own way if you only had like one save state that you could use.
yeah.
So yeah, really changed the game there, and thank God for it. But yeah, Pro, oh my God, perfect tool for the job. Hashtag not sponsored, but like,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
recommend it for sure.
But they have a Famicom one for my AP Famicom. It's very good.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I haven't even seen that one.
Yep. So I'm glad they do this because my converter, like the Famicom to NES cartridge converter, mine doesn't work anymore. So, and I think like with a converter you can't use EverDrives, or there was like some problem with that. So Thank goodness for this. It's also smaller because Famicom carts are just smaller. So,
But is it basically the exact same thing?
oh yeah, it's the exact same thing. It's
I
just good
see.
for me since I have an AV Famicom. So, if you have one of those, definitely the way to go. So, let's see. So you got mid 57, record was low 57 by then. There was no FPG. There was
Yeah.
two bump in BBG. Fun times. Because
Yeah.
when I joined, it was that 56. Like FPG had been found, and that run stood forever.
Yeah.
It was broken with a mid like 2 months after I started watching, I think. So that's like my time frame.
Gosh. Man, that was such a long grind too. So I would say that was the most excitement I've had for SMB1 is after FPG
Mm.
was discovered, because that now there were all these new time saves, and I was like, cool, I don't have to do uh 2 bump 4-2. And I can still remember when that setup was discovered. I remember Darbian and Cosmic were both doing it and like streaming it, streaming even practice of it, trying to get it. And I'm sitting there practicing it on my TV, and I can remember I what I was doing looked exactly like what they were doing, but I was not getting the right values. Back then we were using the sock folder ROM, which basically just showed your, I guess, subpixel or whatever, like the D70 is what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept getting all these crazy ones that weren't on the file. That there was a list of like, if you get these values, then here are the inputs that you did. I was just getting nothing
Mm-hmm.
like that, and I couldn't figure out what I was doing. And it was like days, where I would practice like an hour or two. And I think I'd messaged Cosmic and I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm about to just give up and move on to something else because I can't figure this out. And he said, like, what are you doing for your safe state? I was like, I ran out of the pipe and jumped and then made a safe state. He's like, you can't let go of right when you make your safe state. And I was like, oh my gosh. And as soon as I changed my save state, I was getting D70 like every single time. And I
Yep.
was like, all right, we're good. We're good. We can do this now.
Those
Um, so,
subpixels.
so that was a lot of fun. We were all so close to getting 456. So it was kind of like a race to 456. And then after that, like we all kept pushing for lower times. And it's crazy now, like looking back, how long it took each new frame rule to be saved,
Mm-hmm.
because you look at all the top runners now and they can just bust out a 455 on any day that they
Mm-hmm.
want. But back then it was like months to get a new time save for just adding another flagpole glitch or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that speaks to like the dedication and knowledge that exists now, versus back then. Because even back then, we didn't know about subpixel speed. So we would get the
Mm-hmm.
setup, but we didn't know that depending on when you release right in the air, that affects how easy it is to actually get the like clip into the pole far enough. So like all these things, once they were realized, and everybody knew about them, it became a lot easier. People's consistency went way up from that point on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even when I started to now, so much more is known. It's like a completely different game almost.
Yeah, there's that. And then I can still remember we were talking in Discord. I can't remember who all was there. I'm pretty sure it might have been like me, Mav, Cosmic, and maybe Darbian. But we were talking. I can't remember how the 4-2 clip was discovered. I don't know if somebody had like posted. Maybe it was just Blaze that had posted a video, or and it was like, hey, check this out. And then we just started practicing it. And I remember talking to Mav, and we were getting it super consistently, like the first day that we found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is so much better than the 2 bump, and you get the same time. And so that was kind of just like the next step in that run. A lot of times, people back then would trade out a flagpole glitch for a 4-2 clip instead to go for whatever time we were going for.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I think the deal was, sometimes we would do 4-2 clip instead of 8-3. flagpole glitch just to get more
Mm-hmm.
runs to World 8, or the other way around. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know when 8.3 was first being used, the setup was really dumb. It was like that B press, like frame perfect B
Yeah, yeah.
press.
You would walk for so many frames and then press B, and then you would know if you got it or not based on the bro patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so awful, but also sometimes it was nice when you would mess it up and know that, like, okay, uh I can still like PB, but it's not going to be like this crazy record.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, that setup sucked, and I was really excited when there was the Happy Lee setup, which I still use because I haven't practiced the other one
Mm-hmm.
ever, but where you just buffer the A press at the beginning. And that one's really difficult because you have to do a right release in the air,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on how many frames you do a right release, that determines what subpixels you're going to get. And yeah, it's not ideal. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to guess, based on the fact that nobody else does that
Mm-hmm.
it's not as good as I like to think it is.
Yeah, like you have to release it first of all, it's really quick, like 1 to 3 frames, and then depending on how many frames you released, certain inputs won't work or will, and you have to like know. It's like, how do you know? But the setup now, it's just a 1 frame perfect jump, and then you're guaranteed. You know, if you fuck it up, you either die or it's obvious if you jumped late. It's like, well, all
Yeah.
right. So.
Yeah, but I'm so glad to not be dealing with tricks like that anymore. To have to be aware of like all these pixel perfect, frame perfect, subpixel manipulation things. I've been having so much more fun doing like literally any other speed game lately. But yeah, it's hard for me to remember a lot of stuff about SMB1 with like all the tricks and details. But it's still fun looking back. I had a lot of fun at the time doing that, and like pushing the time down, discovering new things, showing what's possible, competing with like the top people. But at this point, I really don't have the time to keep up and practice enough to say go for 454. I would have to dedicate hours again every day for a while to build up consistency, and then practice all this stuff. And it's kind of like, at this point, there's really I'm not going to do all that stuff just to fight for 8.4 frames anymore. It's like the game is literally at its limit now. So it's it's like I fully support all the people that are going for that. It's fun to watch, but I'm out for good on that.
That's
No
fair.
more record challenges. Like, the most I would ever do if I ever did play any percent is probably just add in like the 8-2 time save, and then go for like a mid 455. But even that, it's like I get anxiety just thinking about having to practice that again. Practice
Well,
flagpole glitches for hours every day.
you definitely don't have to.
Yeah,
Once I got
yeah.
Milo, I haven't played since. At least not for real. So it's interesting. But anyway, going back, like, so the 456 battle, I know Darbian got the first one, and that record stood for like a year. But
Yeah.
then when I joined, I know 4 people had a 456, and you were one of them. But like, who got the second one?
I think Cosmic. I can't remember. It was either me or Cosmic. Probably Cosmic.
So like Cosmic, you and then played.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then Takate, I believe.
Yeah, but that was quite a bit later. No,
But
Taven
it was
was the
still,
fifth. Taven was the fifth.
for some reason I was thinking it was Takate, but I don't.
He might have been
I don't have a good
sixth.
memory with the history of that.
Well,
Um,
I was 10th. So I'm trying to base it off that. Even though I should have been sixth, I bonked the pipe at the end and got a 457.1, and then that was my PB for 6 months. But I did that run in like August 2018, so it would have been like would have
yeah,
been
one
sixth.
thing that's interesting that a lot of people might not know is that when we were battling for 456, I was always like, I had so many runs that were right there, but
Hmm.
also at the time, like everybody knew who Darbian and Cosmic were, but nobody had ever heard of me. Like
Yeah.
nobody knew who I was, even though I was like right there getting runs to 8-4 uh, on pace. I was still kind of like off the radar, which was cool.
That's how it
And
goes.
when I finally got a 456, I was 1 frame off of the record. I think Darbian and Cosmic were tied, and I was 1 frame off the record. And then I had a run that I remember I thought was record, um, but I had Bullet Bill Glitch lag frame, and so I was
Mm,
still 1 frame off. It was like a PB. It was like 1 frame faster 8-4, but I had lag frame, so I was still. Or maybe I was like, maybe I'm wrong. I think I was 2 frames off, and then I was 1 frame off, and then maybe I tied that 1 frame off. But if
mm,
I didn't have lag frame, then we would have had a three-way tie for
mm.
first place, which would have been cool because that's probably never happened in SMB1.
I remember when Darbian's run stood a while, and I remember you were in second place and you were 1 frame off, and that would have been the lag frame. So you would have tied
Okay.
Darbian. I don't think Cosmic had the tie yet.
Okay.
That's if
Yeah.
my memory's
That's
serving right, because this is when I joined, so I'm hoping like me, like the literal start, I'm like remembering it correctly. But I think that's right.
yeah. It could be that. I don't. My memory is terrible when it comes to these things.
Hmm. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, it was crazy like how close it was, that battle was for the longest time. Like one
Yeah.
frame off, tied, like so much. It's crazy
Yeah,
competition.
yeah, there were so many things that happened too. I mean, there were so many runs that were almost records where one thing would go wrong.
Hmm.
Where like I remember one time I was on record pace. I think it was the first mid 456 pace to 8-4, and I think I shorted turnaround room by 1 pixel,
Oh
and so
yeah,
that
that's
was
right.
that was kind of crushing. Because I remember when I hit the wall jump, I was like, "That's it, we're good." Got this. And I tried so hard to delay in the turnaround room so that I don't screw it up, and I somehow still went short. Was really really sad about that. Uh, there was another series of events. So I used to have crazy D-pad issues. My controller, um, the D-pad would always, I would like diagonal when I don't want to, or I would be like trying to press down, and I would press diagonal, and that actually killed 3 record pace runs into 8-4 where I didn't enter the first pipe. I went up and I tried to press down on the pipe, but it registered a diagonal,
Hmm.
and so that happened 3 times. So after the first time, I was like, all right, I'm going to make sure that I'm only pressing down. And so by doing that, I pressed it harder, which registered a diagonal.
Hmm.
And then the third time I got there on that pace, the exact same thing happened again. And that's when I was like, okay, I am replacing the parts in here.
Hmm.
And I started like always swapping out the internals to make sure that things are better. And then when I did that, my consistency with everything skyrocketed.
Hmm.
There was a very obvious difference, and I started telling everybody, I'm like, hey, you should order these, rubber replacements like these pads and swap this out. Um, and a lot of other people had similar, like, noticeable success
Hmm.
and or like improvements in their consistency just by having a consistent D-pad or buttons.
Yeah, I definitely noticed I get a lot of diagonals still, but I remember the first time I ever replaced parts, it was crazy what it did. So, because
Yeah,
for the longest time I was still using like the base, like controller rubbers that just came with the controller.
yeah, yeah. When I was originally running this, I was using the controller like from my childhood. So
Hmm.
it was, uh, from the late '80s, I guess, is when I got a Nintendo, and it was the same controller. So it's had 30 years of use.
Same deal, except mine was like locked away for a long time because like I know they kept it, and like as a kid I played it, but then we thought it didn't work because it kept doing the like red light blinking thing and wouldn't read cards. So then we shoved it
Oh
away
yeah.
for a long time. But then I pulled it back out, jiggled some things, and it was working again. And I was like, hey, I fixed it. I guess I'll use this now.
Yeah, that used to be such a big problem. Even when I busted out my Nintendo in I think I got it out and hooked it back up in like 2010 or something like that. And half the games I couldn't get to work, and then I just looked up how to clean the pin connector, and then every
Mm-hmm.
game worked perfectly after that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, another thing's cleaning controllers. I've never done it. I would always just replace the rubbers, but I found some of that alcohol that's good for cleaning it, and I like put it
yeah,
on where the contacts are on the circuit board. So much, it was just like black when I picked it up. I was like, oh, I see.
yeah, that might
This
be a
is a
problem.
problem.
Yeah,
So yeah, definitely important to clean your parts for speedrunning. It does make a difference. But yeah, so many stories about that kind of crap happening. Although when I started, I was on keyboard, so I didn't have to worry about any of that. Good
yeah.
times.
You know, it is. There's some really nice. I don't think I could ever actually speedrun on a keyboard, but there's some really nice things about having separate keys for
Mm-hmm.
the directions. Like for example, you probably wouldn't fail to go down into a pipe like I did
Mm-hmm.
multiple times. But also for other games like Marble Madness,
Oh my
where
god.
you can't drop an input or it kills your run. So if you're going like diagonal and you barely release without even realizing it, like your run's just over. So that's another one. I feel like if you had inputs like a keyboard, it'd be a lot easier to not lose runs due to hardware issues.
Yeah, there's definitely tons of pros for both things, and it depends on the game, but
Yeah,
you know,
like too bad we don't have more options for controllers. Like I wish people would make newer retro controllers that are high quality and then configurable to some degree like that, or
yeah,
like be able to plug a keyboard into a console or something like that.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
The future is here. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah. Oh, I like playing on the original controller, even though it's probably not ideal with it's like the SNES D-pad especially is really bad. The NES is better, I think, but at least my SNES
yeah,
D-pad so awful. Like if I'm doing All Stars, you're just getting diagonals all the time. Deal with it.
yeah. I think I prefer the original NES controller. Um, I've tried. I haven't really tried playing Mario with a super controller,
Mhm.
but just from playing, I guess Super Metroid and Super Mario World are my only experiences. But I don't really like the D pad as much. I feel like I'm
Mhm.
more accurate uh, with the NES for sure.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I would say it hurts my thumb way more,
Oh yeah.
and it's like a thumb workout trying to play Marble Madness, for example. And you have to build up a callus so that you can actually play longer than an hour at a time because that D-pad will destroy your thumb. But I still like it better overall than the
Mhm.
Super.
I think it's more reliable and like feels a bit better. Like you can tell what you're inputting. It's not perfect. I'll still get diagonals, but nowhere to the level of a SNES one. That's just something I've
Yeah.
noticed through playing. So definitely an NES prefer. And then don't even get me started on that dog bone. That A and B placement is so awful. I don't know what they were
I've,
thinking.
yeah, I've played on a Dogbone controller once, and I just wasn't a fan of how it felt.
Mm-mm.
And it could just be because I'm so used to the original one. I couldn't do it.
Possible, but I don't know. Like if I take the SNES controller, you can like try the diagonal input kind of the same way, or like the where the A and B would be on a dog bone, like that weird diagonal. I couldn't do that. That sucks. So all they had to do was tilt it a different way. It would have been fine, but no,
Yeah.
they fucked it up really badly. So that's my gripe of the day, I guess. But um,
Yeah, the controller. So if anybody's watched me stream, I used to have a hand cam, and you could see that I have this 3D printed shell
mm,
around my controller. So when I first started running SMB1 Warpless, how many ever years ago that was, about 2 weeks into it, I had to stop because I started having all these like hand wrist issues where it was just kind of like straining, causing all kinds of pain, and I couldn't play at all. So my idea was to find a like a 3D model of a bigger controller, like a PS4 controller, cut out the size of the NES controller, and then get it 3D printed so that it's like I'm holding a PS4 controller, but there's a Nintendo controller in it.
hmm
And one of my friends helped do, or didn't help, he did all of the work, and then we kind of tweaked it a couple times, and I've been using it ever since then. And I don't think I could go back to playing with just like a regular controller without the shell, at least not for any amount of time. Like I can do it a little bit, but if I'm going to be spending hours actually doing speed runs, I have to have this shell to
hmm
to help my old man wrists and hands.
Yeah, if it works, it works. And I
Yeah,
mean, that's a really cool solution too.
yeah,
But anyway, to go back to like the timeline of Mario, trying to remember, because again, I joined in like August 2017. Just saw the Salt video. There's Salt made a video about Mario 1, like one of his first videos, so that got more attention on a lot of runners. I mean, again, that's what pulled me in. So there you go. But um, yeah, I think you were second place then because,
yeah. I think so.
well, I don't know. One thing which I guess will be a fun talking point is I'm trying to remember, like a week after I joined and started watching, that amazing Disney show came out. This episode
Yeah,
about Mario 1 speedrunning with a certain guest star on it.
yeah. What a show.
What a show. It was one of the shows of all time, for sure. But
Yeah, it was. That whole experience was a lot of fun. I don't know how much you want me to talk about that, but
oh, I mean, you were there. You're the one that would know.
yeah. Um, so the trip itself was fun. Got flown into to Copenhagen and got to film. I was there for like 3 days and got to go to a studio. Didn't know what to expect. I just show up with my Nintendo and controller and all this stuff, and they have this giant room with all this, all these displays and all this Mario stuff, camera crew, like all these lights, and yeah, it was weird. It was kind of stressful, but also it was cool. Like everybody that worked there was super cool. So like that part didn't stress me out, but trying to do speed runs and you have like all these like giant bright lights in your face, and like the thing in the back of your head where you're just like, oh my god, like this is going to be on a TV show. It was I wouldn't say there was like no stress. There was some amount of stress there, but it was all right. The only thing that kind of sucks, I can remember being in so much pain back then. So that was when I was still like really, really suffering from my spine issues. And I can remember, so there was, when we were filming, there was like this whole interview section where they asked all these questions before like all the other filming. And then there was like the gameplay part of it. And then there was like the show part of it where they have the hosts come out and like ask questions and all this stuff, where like I had no idea what any of the questions were going to be asked. But I remember having to stop the filming multiple times where I was just like, hey, I'll have to lay on the ground for a while because my back was hurting so bad. I just had to lay there until like the pain went away. Uh, so I remember I've gone back and watched it like maybe once or twice, but I can remember seeing how like uncomfortable I can tell. Like I can look at myself and tell like I'm in so much pain. I remember being in pain, but you can see like how uncomfortable I am. But it was because I was in pain, not because I'm like weirded out by the whole thing. But I can definitely remember some of the questions they asked. I don't know what all got cut and what didn't, but I can remember they would ask me questions, and I was like, I have no idea like the answer to this. And then I just have to start talking. It's not like I can sit there and think about it, but then I'll try to start explaining it and I'll be like, sorry, we're gonna have to like reshoot that because I have no idea what I'm talking about. Right. I don't know if anything I said is even accurate. I can't go back and listen to myself talk. It makes me cringe to like actually hear or see myself on a video.
Oh,
But
well, I guess you won't be watching this back.
no, I won't. Sorry.
That's fair. I mean, you were here, so good enough.
Yeah, I was here. Yeah, but yeah, the whole trip was a lot of fun. There were a couple things that were weird about it. I can still remember like finishing the run, whatever my best run was that was on there. I remember like looking up the pattern and being like, this is the exact time. And like they knew the exact time. And then when the show came out, the time they displayed on the screen is
Was
not the
wrong.
time
Yep.
that I told them. And like, everybody in the community is like trying to verify what they're showing on the screen. And they're just like, they lied to us. Why did they do this? And I'm like, it's out of my control. Like
Mm-hmm.
I gave them the information and they chose not to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's that whole show in general. It was such a cool idea, and there was a lot of potential for it. It's just it's unfortunate that it didn't keep going. Like it would have been
Mm-hmm.
cool to see them do a season 2 and kind of improve upon some of the complaints that people had
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah.
the first season. And like one thing that would have helped for sure is them actually listing it on their upcoming shows or promoting it in any way.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when it was airing, I tried really hard to even find when it was going to be on, and I couldn't find any information on it because their guide was wrong or like their upcoming show list was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, all of those episodes were recorded. Even I don't think all of them have been uploaded online, but
Mm-hmm.
all those episodes do exist. 7 of the 8 did air, and there a handful of people have all of those.
Yeah. I don't think I even said it. Like the show's ESL Speedrunners, it aired on Disney XD in 2017, around August. That's what we're talking about. But yeah, your episode is one of the ones that is on YouTube because,
Yeah.
and I saw it live because you were streaming. I was watching. You like weren't sure. Like it said that the Super Mario Brothers episode was happening, but you're like, oh, their thing is wrong, but it was. So I remember
Yeah.
like oh, you're on TV, and it's like oh shit. I don't know, but I
Yeah,
do
sorry, I should
remember
have
that.
given a little bit of an intro about what the show is. But the show was basically um they asked a person who plays like a speed game to come in and basically do attempts of the game and then do an interview like talking about it or like break down different parts of the run and
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. So kind of like each person had their own episode. There was like SMB1, Mario 64, Super Metroid, Link to the Past, maybe Ocarina of Time. I can't remember what all
Ocarina of
was
Time
on
and
there.
Mario Kart 64,
Yeah,
and then the one that didn't air, which was
there was a
GDQ or
GDQ
something.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that just never aired, as far as I know. So, oh, there was also. Did you say Donkey Kong Country too?
Oh no, I didn't. But yeah,
Okay, that was the other one.
that was yeah.
I remember. Doing my best anyway, but yeah, it is an interesting piece of speedrunning history. Let's just say that. Very interesting.
Yeah, and that's actually where my first emote came from.
Oh, yes.
Is
I
the
know
the
what you're
drop
talking about.
glitch.
The
So we
drop
you know we,
glitch.
we mentioned before that there was
Here.
this like wrong information in there. I still have no idea where this came from. Before going there, I provided uh like an info sheet. They'd like asked a bunch of questions, and I filled out all these questions in a doc
Mm-hmm.
and sent it back to them. I went back and looked at everything I sent. I never said anything about a drop glitch. I think I went back and watched the show to be like, did I say something about a drop glitch? I have no idea where this came from. But the 4-2 wrong warp, when you go in the pipe, I don't know. I always referred to it as the 4-2 wrong warp.
Mm-hmm.
And in the show, they called it the drop glitch. And since then, I've learned that the drop glitch actually is something in SMB3, but it
Mm.
has nothing to do with SMB1. I don't know where it came from. So yeah, my first emote there in chat is drop glitch.
Drop glitch. Yep. He heads into the drop glitch, and it's just him going down the
Yeah,
pipe in 4-2. It's like, I don't know why, but yeah, that's what it
just
says.
dropping in. Yep.
Dropping in. Where are we dropping, boys? Dropping into the glitch. But God, the show is so interesting. Yeah. Someone needs to make a video about it, honestly. Anyway, God.
Yeah,
And then they like ripped off of Summoning Salt's video a ton. They stole his footage. They just stole his footage straight up.
yeah,
It's so weird.
yeah. A lot of video footage and the like dialogue word for word in
Mm.
some places was pretty much like straight from his video.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah,
exactly the
Ace,
same.
you should do it. You'll have to make a video about it.
Oh, me? Okay, maybe. But
Yeah,
um, yeah, it's just such an interesting thing to exist in the world, I guess. And
yeah.
no one like knows about it anymore.
No,
Which, I mean,
no,
probably for the best, but it is
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Like the idea of it is really cool. Is introducing speedrunning to like a bigger audience,
Hmm.
but being on Disney XD, um,
That's
most
the
people
XD
probably
right there.
don't even have that channel. Um, but it would have
Hmm.
been cool. Like I'm sure that there's another way that that could be done. It could be done on the same level with like a studio and done in a really cool way.
Hmm.
Maybe at some point in the future that'll happen.
That'd be nice
Yeah,
because just because the first attempt didn't go well doesn't mean it's doomed to fail.
yeah,
I mean, look how much speedrunning has grown since then. There you go. Here's your proof. But yeah, just interesting history to have existed. But um, it's funny because I just brought up like Summoning Salt, how I watched his Mario 1 video and then started joining. Well, obviously, you're gonna like that's how I made Twitch because I didn't know what that was, and I saw that. I'm like, oh, people stream this on Twitch. Got it. So then that first day, I looked up people in the video, so I followed Darbian, but he was hosting you. So you were my first stream on Twitch I ever
the first
watched,
one.
right here. Which in a fitting way, when I started this whole podcast thing, you were the first person I asked because I thought that'd be a cool way to do it, but it didn't line up at the time. But here we are. So
Yeah,
it all
yeah.
comes
Here we
full
are.
circle.
Made it happen now.
Made it happen. Here we are. So now I'm like at the era that I remember, but it's nice to know like kind of what the early history was. Well, earlier, not that you've been around for like since Andrew G's 2005 or whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't really know anything about speedrunning back then, other than the fact that it existed,
I
and that
didn't know it existed.
I would never like back then. My thought about it is I would never do that, not because I didn't think that I could or wanted to. I was just like, at least back then, I was in college and I was like, I don't have time to do this,
Hmm.
and and then even after that, for the longest time, I was like, there's no way that I would be able to dedicate time to do something like this. And then like when it did happen, it was just kind of everything worked out just right, where I did have some time and I thought it was so cool. Like really the whole community aspect is what made me want to do it. Like seeing
Hmm.
people race and seeing just like all the runners and everybody's friends, and it's like friendly competition. So just being on Twitch and getting to chat to these people, really that's kind of what convinced me to actually do it. If it was me just sitting here in a room recording, I don't think I would have ever had the same level of motivation
Hmm.
to do it.
I definitely feel the exact same way, but I differentiate in the way Jesus too that I had no idea what it was for until like I saw that Saw video, which is wild to me because I would have loved it. I just know I would have. So I don't know where the internet was recommending me things like do better, I guess. What the hell? I joined way too late for what I would have wanted because what I was 18 when I started, which is fairly young, but that's you're crippling old compared to like people that start nowadays. Let's just be honest. So
Yeah. Yeah, people start so young now, and it's awesome for them because they have a lot more time to
mm,
be able to invest in it,
yeah.
and then also just the natural advantages of being younger with better you know reflexes and whatever probably. Uh, so yeah, definitely time advantage for sure.
Oh yeah. I would have gotten world record if I started just a couple years earlier for sure. But no, probably not.
I I always love looking back and thinking like this run would have been world record if it was done on like whatever specific date. And it's like you could go in right now, like any top runner could just go do a run on demand, and it's like it would have been record 10 years ago, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yep, I can do that.
That's yeah.
458. It's pretty easy if you
Yeah.
if you've done it hundreds of times. Let me clarify, but yeah, I can definitely like sub 5 on demand, and that was a big deal when it happened, and like really hard. But nowadays, which I guess back then like so many things weren't known, so it was just genuinely a lot harder. But
Yeah.
nowadays, yeah.
Yeah, here's something that's crazy. So when I got sub 5, I didn't know it was sub 5 for like a week or
Mm,
two or something, because for some reason back then there were several of us who were using an old Dazzle capture device, and I don't even know how this is possible, but the recorded time, like the number of frames, was not the actual real time. I don't know if it had
hmm.
anything to do with the like console frame rate being different, or maybe the capture device somehow captured differently, but it was about a half second off for a 5 minute run. So I believe it
Hmm.
was Nick J and myself. Both had sub 5 times, but our time was originally like, 5 minutes and whatever, how many ever milliseconds. And then somebody was like, actually, that's wrong. The frame count is somehow wrong from
Hmm.
this, or however we timed it back then, and it ended up being a sub 5. So it was kind of just like, oh, cool, I hit my goal, but I didn't actually get to celebrate it when it happened.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm kind of curious if anybody ever figured that out, or if anybody still uses a Dazzle to capture, um, you know, if they're frame counting from their Dazzle recording on Amarek, it might be completely wrong.
That's weird because I used a Dazzle with Amarek for a few years, and it wasn't. If it was wrong, it was like a couple frames. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah, I don't
So
know
that's weird.
exactly what it was, if it was the software or maybe like some settings on the software or like the way it was encoded. But
Mm,
yeah, it was crazy wrong. I know of at least like 3 people who ran into that issue.
interesting. Yeah, I had no idea. I know there's like just general issues. I know one time I don't know if it was with Dazzle Amarek setup, but like this gigantically loud audio static noise just blasted. I don't know what caused it, but it scared the hell out of me and probably destroyed the ears of anyone that happened to be watching at the time. So, a lot of issues with that. I still use Amarek too. It like I have a StarTech now that I've been using for a while, and you can like directly capture an OBS, but it drops frames. Like and the quality doesn't look that good. It's a little blurry, but yeah, I remember like some of my old records from like 2021 or whatever 2020ish era. You can like see where it like stutters a little bit and drops some frames, but through Amarek and then capturing that screen, like it's perfect. I don't know why, but so that's the only reason I use it that way. The quality's better and it doesn't drop frames, but still kicking with
Yeah,
the
there's
Amarek software.
I don't I don't understand hardware issues. I get frustrated when hardware stuff doesn't work, when I
Mm.
don't understand what the problem is.
Oh, me too.
But there's been some weird. I don't know if you remember this or what year it was, but some people would have a like a buzz or like a humming sound in their audio, and it turned out to be coming from like LEDs that were on the mouse, on the computer mouse,
Hmm.
and they somehow caused some sort of interference with the other hardware that was causing this crazy sound. And
Interesting.
so, yeah. things like that. I'm like, I would have never figured that out, and I
Hardware's
understand
fucking
why
weird,
that's
man.
yeah.
What a pain in the ass, but yeah, that's the only like major issue I can think of with those old setups. I think the one I have now is like really good. I'm like too scared to change anything. And
Yeah,
apparently,
that's
like if you really mess with your video settings, like you can make your capture look like it's upscaled even though it's not. Because mine's not. I just have the RGB mods. So I need to like figure out how to get it looking like that because oh it look like mine looks really good. But you can like if you like look at the text, you can tell it's a little blurry because it's not like properly sized up.
oh, okay.
So I need to figure out how all of that works. I got to talk to the right people, but because I don't want to like buy uh upscalers if I don't need to because like it looks fine on my TV. That's all I need it for, but the
Yeah,
captures something
there might
else.
be a way to do it the same way. That's like something that I don't really know much about. I've
Yeah.
been using a frame meister forever to upscale, and I don't want to touch anything with my setup
Hmm.
just because I don't want to deal with
Yeah. That's the one
buying more
thing.
cables or
Don't
dealing with
don't want to don't want to
configurations.
mess it up. That's
Yeah.
I'm like too scared to unplug anything. But yeah, one
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
I've been looking at so many videos on like setup stuff and what you can do, but I'm always just too scared to touch anything. But I'm trying.
Yeah, there was a while I was using a different capture card, and the FrameMeister plus that capture card did not they didn't work well together. So every time I had to reset after a run, it would mess up the card, and I would have to reset my computer. So my
Mm,
streams for a while they would last like 10 minutes, and then something would get completely messed up, and then it would like completely lock up my computer. And it took me a while to figure out it was the capture card because the frame meister, the way it sends the signal when you reset, it does something, and then the capture card didn't like that the signal, like the resolution changed, and
mm.
then it would just completely lock up the computer. So
Well, that
that's another reason
sucks.
I'm just like, I'm not changing anything. It works right now. Uh, so yeah, that's also why I like to run now with Power Pack or EverDrive as opposed to actually resetting my console, so I can reset it from, uh, the flash cart. Because
Hmm.
when I reset, it does something weird with the signal, and then it'll screw up the. Sometimes I have to reset multiple times to get it to register. Like if I
Hmm.
actually reset the console.
Yeah, the
So
power
yeah,
pack is that built-in reset function. Actually, the EverDrives do too. I'm just used to hitting
yeah,
the button.
but yeah, that's just I would prefer to run on a cartridge rather than a flash cart, but for that reason,
Hmm.
I don't. I just use the flash carts now.
Yeah, I mean, I switched to flash card because again, my when I got the AV Famicom, I bought a cheap little converter NES cart to Famicom, and it stopped working. Like it'll work now, you just have to tilt it, or it's like super corrupt graphics, and there's no audio. And it's like no, I'll just play on the flash card. Thank you. It's the exact same thing. It doesn't matter. So because when I do speedruns, I like turn off the in-game menu functionality. So once the game's loaded, like you can't you can't access EverDrive function. So
Oh,
I know
okay.
we're good. So at that point,
Yeah,
it's
I've
literally the same.
in a lot of runs, like when I'm doing attempts, if I die or kill the run out of like muscle memory, I hit load state, and so it'll just go to wherever I was
Mhm.
previously practicing. So yeah, I should probably start turning that menu off. I mean, not that it matters; the run's already dead at that point,
Yeah.
but it's funny that like I'll die and then all of a sudden I'm at a completely different part of the game. Like,
Mhm.
oops.
Oops. You have the EverDrive Pro now?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I bought it for the Celeste Mario ROM hack,
Yeah.
so I can make save states and enjoy the expansion audio and all that.
Yeah. So yeah, I can tell you how, or show you how to turn off the menu. Then it's pretty simple, but yeah, that's just what I do, and then you can do a hard off and on again. It'll take you to the menu, and then you can turn it back on in that menu, and it's all good. So that's what I do to just ensure that I don't accidentally fuck something up because I'm super conscious about it, even though there's like no way I could hit the button combination on accident. But just in case, let's let's turn that off. But anyway, to go back to like 2018 because that was like a huge moment for Mario 1, that era.
Yeah, that was when people were pushing for 455, right?
Darbian got the mid in like it was October 2017 if I'm remembering right. So then mid was now a thing. And so that's what and
Yeah.
then that was like he used the B press setup threat flagpole glitch. I think that was right before Blaze It was becoming a thing, which you were talking about.
Yeah, I think Darbian had been not running a lot around that time, and I think Cosmic and I were pushing for mid
Hmm
456, and then Darbian came back and then got it pretty quick. Um, I can still, I think I might have been streaming when he got it. I can't totally remember that time period,
hmm
but I was just like, dang it, how does he do it? How does he just come back and get it? Um, but yeah, after that, I think I got mid not too long after that, and then started adding in the 1-2 clip to go for low 456,
mm.
and I think I was the first to get a low
Yeah,
456.
but you didn't do 1-2 clip yet. That was for 55.
Oh right, that's right, that's right. That was
Blaze
the
It.
next. Yeah, it was Blaze It, and then I started doing 1-2 clip
hmm
right after that.
Yeah, so Cosmic got a fast rate 4 and got that dot 4. That was really good. And then, yeah, you added, or no, Darbian did 8-3. Cosmic did Blaze It. You did both. So that it was low. It's
Yeah,
like dot 2, I think. So that was your first
yeah. It
record.
wasn't. Yeah, yeah. Is that? Yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right.
hmm
And it wasn't even a great 8-4, but I didn't need one at that
No,
point
yeah.
because
It
I
was
was
good
like,
enough, you know.
I just need to complete the run, and then I knew at that point I could already do 1-2 clip. I'm pretty sure like right after that run finished, I was like, I guess it's time to go for
hmm
455, and I started practicing the 1-2 clip on stream.
Yeah. But yeah, how
So
was it
yeah,
to get record finally? Because you were like right there for so long.
yeah, it was exciting. It was a relief. Um, if I never got record, I would have been pretty disappointed.
hmm
Uh, just because of like how close I was and like the amount of time I put into it. So I'm glad that I actually got to enjoy that. Although, I mean, it doesn't mean a lot to me now. Like looking back, I'm not like, yeah, I did this great thing. It's just kind of like something that happened in my life that I can kind of remember. Like I
Okay.
don't even remember
Fair
the
enough.
sequence of events of like what year and like what was happening and all this stuff. Um, yeah, it's like it was definitely exciting at the time, but at this point, it's like so long ago to me. It's just like a dream I had or something.
hmm I think I saw it live. Pretty sure. But yeah, I remember that era pretty well. Because that's when I more frequently watched instead of doing stuff myself.
Yeah, that was for me. That was the most exciting time in SMB1 speedrun. It was like that push from mid 456 down to 455. It was exciting to be a part of that, and also exciting to watch other people running at the time.
hmm Yeah, competition was really big back then.
Yeah,
So 455 though, with the
yeah,
1-2 clip.
yeah. So somewhere before that, I had started keeping a spreadsheet during my sessions where I could keep track of where I was messing up, and then kind of also see data around my consistency or like my success rate with different tricks or like different parts of the run. So I could actually make informed decisions on what I need to practice for the next session. So if I saw that I was losing, a third of my runs to something dumb like 1-2 pipe jumps or something, like before I even get to the trick, then I would just make sure I grind that out a lot. Or if I was not even making it to the end of 8-1, you know, not even considering bad judges, but if I just beat 8, or if I would die before I got to the end of 8-1, I had all this information, so I just make sure I
hmm
practice that. And then I would check next time, like after my next stream, did I actually improve here? Yes or no? And then I would either practice more or know that I'm like good enough at this point. And I would try to reach a certain success rate for each level, or I would like aim to hit certain numbers to know like, okay, if I in a session I do 200 attempts, then I have this percent chance of actually finishing a run with all the tricks.
Hmm.
And um, that's kind of what it came down to, because I didn't want to guess as to what I was investing my time into. I was at that point, I was so ready to be done with the game. That's where I actually, so I should say, like, up until this point, even when I had low 456, um, I was still only playing. I wasn't playing a ton. Um, it got to a point where I was playing enough to where I could get Twitch partner. And that was really like the main reason. I was like, well, I'm getting all these viewers when I'm streaming. I might as well try to hit the requirements for Twitch partner. And so, but up until that point, it was like I would stream twice a week. I'm still doing all kinds of other stuff outside of streaming. But then when I got to that point where I had this opportunity, I was like, all right, I'm gonna dive into this for a while. Um, I was like streaming and practicing probably 5 days a week, um, up until I got 455, and um, then I went back to like what I would prefer to do, which is not stream every day, and be able to focus more on other stuff in life.
Yeah, that's fair.
But with with going for the 455, I can still remember that was the first time where I felt bad because I wanted to do other stuff, and I was like, I've got to get this stupid game done. I got to get a 455 and just move on with my life. So there were some weeks where I played that game when I really didn't want to. I wanted to like go out and do something, but then I was like, no, I'm going to get the record tonight, and I'm going to be done. So it was definitely, when I finally got it, it was just a relief that I don't have to keep practicing flagpole glitches and all this other stuff.
Yep. It's crazy that you got that in like late 2018. That's still your PB.
Yeah, yeah. It's I was so close to, like, so many times I was so close. I think I had gotten to 8-4 a
Hmm.
few times, and then Cosmic got the record when I was on vacation.
Hmm.
And when I came back, I think it was like the weekend I came back, I streamed, and I got a PB that was like a 456.1. And then I think my next stream, or within the next week, I got a 455. So like I was so close right there.
Hmm.
But that's how it happened.
Yeah, that is how life works sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, did get to like destroy the record because of it, I
Yeah.
guess. Because that his eight,
Yeah.
let's just be honest, his 8-4, yikes. But but
Yeah, I was happy with the 8-4. I think I just did one fast excel,
yeah.
and it was one of the better 8-4s that I had, especially in a PB. And that was still in an era where people weren't doing the insane 8-4s that exist now,
Hmm.
because now there's
Like you
like
didn't even
wall
know
jump
how to
manip,
do any
and
of that yet.
yeah, there's like so much new stuff. Where I remember when um, whatever time Nifsky had, where it was 2 frame rules faster than mine, but it was like a full second faster
Hmm.
than mine. I was like, God, like, is there really that much time in 8-4? That's nuts. So
Yeah.
yeah, back when we were grinding, it was like the 8-4 that I got was considered pretty good,
Yeah.
and now that's just like not anywhere as close to a good 8-4 with today's standards.
Yeah, like if you were on 454 pace, I don't think that would get it. Or
Yeah,
yeah,
probably
it wouldn't
not.
even be close, right? Yeah.
It would be. I'm trying to count frames. It would be like at 6 or 7 frames off or something like that.
Yeah, it'd be quite a
Is that
bit
right?
because you had dot .7, so it'd be yeah, dot .0, like high dot .0, 5.0. So
Yeah.
quite a ways away, which is crazy to think about because yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
You did fast excel.
Yeah.
People thought you were crazy for doing that, but there it was.
Yeah.
Definitely saved some time with it.
Yeah, but yeah, I was super happy with the run, and still happy with it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what place it is on the leaderboards. It might still be in top 20, but
Hmm.
the the range
I'm
now
almost out of
is
top 10.
crazy,
That I know. I'm like,
and that's a low 455.
it's a dot three, yeah. But to be fair, it was top 3 when I got it, and I haven't PB'd since. So, I mean, that's just how it goes. But yeah, I mean, you've had 2 records in any percent. So that's pretty
Yeah,
good. I'd say that's pretty
yeah,
good. And we haven't
yeah,
even
and
talked
that
about the other categories.
yeah that the record, my 455 record, that lasted a lot longer than I expected it to
Hmm.
as well. I
Especially
don't think
with
there were
Cosmics lasting not even a month.
yeah I don't think there were a ton of people at the top grinding
Hmm.
at that point. There were several people who could have beat it, but yeah, it lasted a lot longer than I expected.
Yeah, it's like half a year almost. Maybe even was. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah, I can't remember.
it stood a while.
I think it was 2019 before it was beat, but
Hmm.
I don't know like how many months it was.
I could tell you the exact number of days on my like world record spreadsheet I have, but I'd have to open it. So let's not let's not ruin. Like I said about hardware, let's not ruin things.
Yeah.
Who knows? If once I try to open up my browser, my encoding's gonna go to shit. So anyway, so that was the any percent progression, but there was also a little bit of minus world in there, the
Oh
minus
yeah.
world ending category.
Yeah, Minus World was a pretty fun run because at that point, I don't think I can't remember if the record had 1-2 clip or maybe a different 1-2 clip, but because of my consistency with the 1-2 clip from any percent, I was like, I guess I should go do Minus World now.
Hmm.
And then I think I got several Minus World records, and it was just because of flagpole glitches plus the 1-2 clip ended up saving quite a bit of time
Hmm.
there. And then while I was running that, people figured out in -3 there's a way to clip through the wall, and people figured out a few different setups for that. So once I got a run I was happy with there in Minus World, I was done with it. Um,
Hmm.
I'm kind of glad that I didn't. There wasn't like a really good setup for. So in -2, there's a way to get the full flagpole glitch
Hmm.
with. Wait, is it -2? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's -2. Um, a way to like get a good fish where you clip in the ground and do that. It was such a big time save, but I'm kind of glad I never learned how to do that because then
Hmm.
when I learn a trick like that, I feel obligated. I'm like, well, now I got to do it in a run. But
Hmm.
I was really happy where I left Minus World, and I will say this: my Minus World run. Uh, do you know what the time was? Is it like a 2:31?
It
Two?
was
I
the
can't. I can't
first
remember what.
231. It might have been
Okay,
like by 1 frame.
yeah, and my video time was not a 2:31,
Hmm.
but I believe it was Blaze It did made a task of it to get the exact frame count
Hmm.
and said that it was a 2:31.
Hmm.
So I trust um, you know I trust the tasks over my
Hmm.
video recording because I think the video recording was a couple frames slower than that,
Hmm.
but it was cool to get to be the first to at least one new second barrier
Yeah.
in SMB1 after all
It
that time.
it's hard to it's very hard to break second barriers in that game.
Yeah.
Sometimes harder than it really should be, but that was a big one. That record stood a long time too. And I know
I
because
can
I was the
also
one that broke it. And the fact that it was me shows how long it took. Because I was not good yet when you set that, I don't think.
you're talking about Minus World?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What did you do different? Was it like the faster clip setup?
It was faster clip setup, but my clip was like really bad because
Okay.
you can get like a .7 with that clip, which I now have. But yeah.
I can still remember I had so many runs that would get to the clip and I would fail the clip. And I remember the night I got the record, I believe it was Roy came into the chat and he was just like, just go practice that really quick. And I did like a 10-minute practice session, and then my next run there was I got record like very
Yeah,
soon after that.
I think
So I
it
remember
was
being like,
coming
"Thanks,
out of
Roy.
I think it was coming out
Thank
of
you."
practice first run was just it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, which
So
is really
thanks again
funny.
to Roy for telling me to go practice because I've worked
Finally,
out.
the one time telling a streamer to practice actually paid off.
Yeah, normally I would be like, banned, get out of, don't tell me what to do. But
Banned for
yeah,
life. True.
definite. Roy was correct in that.
There you go. And so, thinking of main categories, I know you've done Worpless a little bit more recently, but
Yeah, that's still technically my current project, even though I haven't run it. I've done it a couple times over the years. It's like I'll run it for a couple weeks and then stop for a year and then come back to it. My goal with Warpless is still a 1905, and I still plan to do that. It's just sometimes I don't want to play that game. And that's
mm,
really what it comes down to, where I'm like, I have put in enough time in this game. I don't really want to do that. So recently I've been playing the Celeste Mario ROM hack. That's kind of, I was on such a long break from streaming. And then when that ROM hack came out, I saw how fun it looked and I played it and I was like, I'm definitely doing runs of this game. And it's some of the most fun I've ever had for the, I guess, 8 years or so that I've been streaming and actually doing attempts. It's a lot more fun to me to play maybe like a less serious speed run that is also kind of new, where it's like you're discovering strats and coming up with stuff, whether it's like routing, like more optimal ways to do stuff. And just that game specifically, the movement is so good, and it's such a fun speed run. I'm honestly surprised that more SMB1 runners or other like speedrun platform people don't actually speedrun that ROM hack, because it is so fun. It's like I have as much fun playing that as I do playing Super Metroid.
mm,
There's not as much tech as like Super Metroid, but it's the same kind of thing where you can make it as difficult as you want. And there's always like movement optimizations you can do, because you compare it to a game like SMB1 where it's like run, hold right and B, and then do 100 frame perfect tricks or inputs
yeah.
along the way. Uh, Games that have a lot of other inputs and movements and all kinds of other tech, those are the speedruns that are way more interesting to me. So
Hmm.
I definitely recommend you and anybody else giving that game a try for
I
speedrun.
I've wanted to, but there's just so much to do, unfortunate, and so many people also doing for stuff, so you're like obligated, well, I have to do this and only this, and yeah.
Yeah. But I do want to shout it out. The ROM hack is called Celeste Mario Zap and Dash, and there is a Discord server of the people who play the game and run it. So highly recommended if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it looks fun. I still need to play it casually, but again, something I'd want to do on stream because it sounds fun, and I'm kind of busy with everything else. But eventually, I promise, I will at least play it. So, but yeah, looks really cool. The speed runs. I heard there's some like hard stuff in there too, so should be fun.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it would be cool if you could get like some other SMB1 runners or some other people to do a blind race of a playthrough or something.
Blind
That'd be
race.
fun to see.
I don't. I don't think I'd be the one that would like blind racing. I like to, if I'm gonna play a game for the first time, I want to like properly enjoy it. That's just me, but I don't know. Something
Yeah, I get that.
like a blind speed run, like playing the game, but then like not knowing how to speed run it and then doing that. Yeah, I can see that, but I don't know how that would work. I don't know who would be interested in something like that. I don't even know if I'd be interested in something like that, but the idea is cool. I'll say
Yeah.
that. So, but yes, I would like to see. You should get sub 19 in Warpless.
Sub 19.
Yeah, it's easy.
1905 is easy.
Yeah.
1905 is easy, and that would be a good stopping point for me with that game.
Well.
I feel like that would be the end, and then I'll move on to see. I have this giant list of other
Mm-hmm.
games, and Warpless is a really fun run until it gets to the point where it's like there's
Not.
no room for errors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's like that with any speed game, especially like the 2D Mario's. There's like a certain point where it just stops being as fun, or it's like fun for a different reason. It's like
Mm-hmm.
fun because you're trying to play this perfect run with all these perfect inputs. So it's like a different kind of challenge, different kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to like cut that as early as possible, 1905, before I start really dreading playing it, and then I'll move on to like some other stuff. I'm not sure what's. I think after that I'm going to do Excite Bike,
Mm.
and then Marble Madness. Unless Marble Madness gets into HEDQ, then
Mm.
I'll be switching over to Marble Madness anyway.
Hell yeah. Let's hope. Um.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mhm.
They really don't like a 2 minute run, so we'll
Yeah.
see if they can throw it in.
Marvel Madness
Like,
has been in before.
yeah,
It'd be
yeah, and
cool.
we're hoping that with Marble Madness 2 being
Mm.
submitted as well, that we can just do like a back to back
That would
Marbles
be
1,
so
Marbles 2.
good. And you have
Yeah,
like a big race of the first one too, which would be really cool.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah. I'd love
hopeful.
to get 4 people.
Hmm.
I'd love to get a 4 person race going, but it's looking like it's going to be a 3 person race if
Oh.
they accept it.
Hmm. I thought it would be four. Oh well. But still cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, the 4-person Marble Madness would be really funny. And then I assume Yell's submitted too as like a solo thing.
I don't. So I think it was me, Yells Drake, and Ellipsis all submitted as a race for just whoever submits, because
Yeah,
previously I
for
think Takate was also going to submit, but I don't think he can make it to
oh
this next one. So as far as I know, only 3 people submitted
yeah.
for their run.
Sorry, I meant Madness 2.
Oh, Madness 2. Yeah, I'm not sure who else submitted for that one.
Okay, got it.
I believe there might be 3 people, but I don't know. I haven't looked if the list is public
Mm.
to see who else submitted.
Oh yeah, I haven't looked at the list in a while. I should really look at it. But yeah, I mean, Marvel Madness 2 is a whole story in itself. Crazy that that came out.
Yeah,
People are running it.
yeah. That Marble Madness 2 is another game that I completely learned the entire run, practiced it for days, and then I've never done a single attempt of it.
You should stop
I
doing
I
that.
tend to do that. I tend to do that with games. It's like I'll learn it so that I can do runs, and then I don't know. It's kind of like a lot of the fun is just learning the run itself.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's like I don't have to do attempts of it to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
the first few attempts are always the best, because it's like you
Hmm.
do a run, you have no pressure, and then like your next run, no matter what, is going to be better,
Hmm.
and that's always fun. And then it's like after you've been doing attempts for a week and your time's down, then it's like the fun starts going away a little bit.
Yeah, I get it.
For me anyway. Like I know that other people are completely different about that, but that's
Hmm.
for me, that's like the fun. It's like learning something, getting that amount of improvement, and then really I'd like to just move on
Hmm.
after that point and not get stuck in a game.
Yeah, I get it. Makes sense. Um, to go back to Mario 1 though, I will say you should get 1903 Warpless. That's like the
It would be, yeah, I know that it's doable
yeah,
with the strats that
that's
I'm
like
going
the
for.
that's like the sub 5 of Warpless, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to put it. Because you don't have to do like the harder power up route. You can still do 1-1-1-2 and get it. And then As long as you stay on pace, like, you know, every single pattern, just like any percent, it's the same thing.
Yeah. The only reason I'm saying so 1903 was my original plan
Mm.
because of like that route.
Yeah.
Um, but after doing, I remember I did attempts for like a couple weeks, and I think I was just saying 1905 to know that like if I get that, I'll be okay with stopping right
Mm.
there. Like if I'm sick of it, then I'll stop. I don't want to commit to 1903 because then I don't want to feel like I didn't reach a
I
goal.
see.
Because then that's always going to be this outstanding thing where I feel like I never did what I had set out to do. So I'm making a reasonable goal of 1905,
I see.
but then depending on how I feel, like how quickly I get it, I might go for 1903, but I'm not counting on it.
All right. Fair enough. I've just been waiting for Warpless for a long time, man. You know,
Yeah,
I want to see some,
yeah,
but all
it'll be back. It'll be
right.
back.
Eventually.
I'm waiting. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting to see. I'm not finished with Celeste Mario yet, but then depending on the GDQ
Mhm.
games, like if they don't accept Marble Madness, then I'll probably just go back to Warpless. Um, that's going to determine my next speed game
Got it.
after Celeste Mario.
Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. But I'll just be waiting patiently for it. So,
All right.
um, but onto other categories. You've had the glitchless record once as well. I know that. That's now a main
Oh,
category. Oh, did you forget
oh,
about that?
yeah, kind of. I'm glad that it is a main category because I remember
Yes.
years ago I was trying to get it. I wanted it to be moved over because I wanted more people to know about it
Hmm.
because it's a cool run in its own for its own reasons. Um, but that's kind of crazy that what I did ever got record.
Hmm.
I don't know how that was record.
It barely
Because
was, but it was.
yeah, it's like when you look at what the run is now.
Hmm.
I mean, I know there's like a whole other frame roll on top of that, but there's just faster strats overall.
Hmm.
That run was super fun. I loved doing glitchless.
Yeah.
It's something that I always wanted to improve, but yeah, it's never been like a super high priority thing to go back to it. Mostly just because I got so kind of like burnt out on SMB1 and all that stuff. I think I had a lot more fun doing walkathon
Mm.
and so walkathon is a category where you can't run, you can't press B, so you're just walking the whole time.
Hmm.
And when I first started watching or like looking at runs for the category, I was like, well, there is so much room to improve here. Like there is so much, and that was when I started realizing I have more fun speedrunning when I'm able to figure out new strats and route things. So what I was doing in that run is finding sequences of good frame rules. So in 8-2 there's a gap where you can't normally get over it without running. So I mapped out all these frame rules that have all these good bullet shots because you have to like bounce off of a bullet to actually get across there. So
Hmm.
I made the spreadsheet of all these. Here are the good frame rules in a row. There's 3 good in a row where you get these bullets. I mapped out all the hammer burrow patterns and what to do in 8-3, and that was so much fun to me. It wasn't even about like getting the record or getting the time. It was like discovering something new, mapping it out, like collecting this knowledge for other people to use, and then seeing the game get pushed down beyond that. Like I'm pretty sure you came along and Nifsky and other people and destroyed whatever time I had
Hmm.
because of more strats, and then I think originally it might have been based on some of the info I had about the frame rules to use. But like
Hmm.
that's what's so fun for me.
Yeah. All of my routing for that was based on your notes. I probably still have like a screenshot of them somewhere, but um yeah, I mean, you're the one that like inspired me to run it. Like I don't think I would have. And then yeah, now it's a lot deeper into the 6.5x. But yeah, I added I added an 8-1 wall jump to save like 3 seconds.
Yeah,
And
that was
then
such a big time save.
mhm. It took so long to get because apparently my setup was like essentially RNG. I didn't know it was. I was like thinking because I kept getting the same subpixel value, but apparently it didn't matter. Like I was just happy. So I was just literally throwing my stuff at a wall and just getting lucky. But now there's like a setup that's much easier and 100% consistent, which is great. And then I was also the first to add 1-2 clip, which saves a second in that. So you just can just you're like perfectly set up. If you don't slow down, you can just walk into the pipe and clip in.
Oh, okay. I don't even know if I realized that was in Walkathon.
Yeah, it is now.
Uh, okay. Well, dang. All right.
I added that in.
Yeah. When I was running it, it was a race to sub 7,
Hmm.
and I think I think you got sub 7 first, right?
Yep, after having
It's
like
like
7 flat dot 1 or
okay,
something.
okay, yeah. After that, it was kind of like I realized sub 7 was possible, and that's what um I wanted to see it happen, and then like after it happened, I was like, all right, it's my work is done here.
Okay.
I was just happy,
My
even though
bad.
no. Well, it was like I did all that stuff to see how low the run can be pushed if you get like the optimal run,
Hmm.
um, and so after that, like it doesn't matter if I got it or whoever got it. It was just like it happened. Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and move on.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I think it's 654 now. I have 655, but my run is so bad.
Dang.
I need to beat it. There's so much stuff I need to do, but I need more time, man. I just need more time.
Yeah.
I need to
That's the
not get burnt
problem.
out. I need to life. Too complicated. But yeah. It's all on my list though. I'll come back to it. But yeah, that's a really fun one. Anything that's like a unique challenge is really fun. Like
What is the
I've
next
run
thing on your list?
I mean I've been doing Warpless still. You mean after that?
Yeah.
I have a bunch of unfinished business and like categories I've run more recently. So like I wasn't done with All Stars. I switched to yeah, not quite that Blaze It. But I I left All Stars early. I have unfinished business there. I wasn't done with one-handed Warpless yet. Um I think that's about everything. And then I don't know, just whatever piques my interest at the time. I really wanted to do SMB1 again though. Like I was doing 1856 attempts for a little bit to I think it was like to prepare for pace and then I stopped after coming home. But I don't know. My list has like 90 categories of various games. Like it's just too much to do. So we'll
Yeah.
see. But
Yeah. What's up, Blaze It?
but anyway, going back to glitchless real quick, you were saying like it's crazy how much faster the run is now. And this isn't to
Yeah.
gloat, but just to put it into comparison, like your run was I think it was you got the first 503.6 because I know Cosmic had a dot .7 and you beat him. So I think it was dot .6. And then my PB, which is tied to the frame with that run into 8.4, is a 502.
Yeah. Yeah. You did basically frame perfect
Mm.
all those rooms. The
Oh, it's
way there's
like
like
a couple dozen frame perfect inputs in 8.4.
yeah. I remember that when you were doing that, and I thought that that was insane that you got 502 uh with that with that frame
That's
rate.
one of my better accomplishments in speedrunning, I'd say. And the only thing that sucks is that there was another frame rule, and so I don't have the record just because of that frame rule.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to
Is
have
that
to
on
do
your
that.
list?
It's not. It wasn't. I said I was done. I thought like having 502 without the extra frame rule was like insane. But I don't know. If I could learn the frame rule in 4.2, I might come back to it, but I would never go for that 8.4 again. I'd My stopping point would be like a 502.6, which would be like four four frames slower, I think, which doesn't sound like a lot, but yes, that's like it. I think that's I had a 503.0, and I think that was like a perfect run at the time. Like that was before 502 was even considered possible without the extra frame rule. Like I think I tied the IL world record at the time with that run. And that was like significantly easier than 502, like significantly. So it wouldn't be as bad as it sounds.
Does is there a glitchless task?
Yeah, Blaze it would know, I think, if anyone
Okay.
knows. But I know it's like a dot. Human theory is like a dot five. So I'm still a handful of frames. Like the A4AL glitchless world record is like frames faster than the one I did in that run still. So, uh, yeah, I just don't know the exact number, but it's a good amount. But yeah, yeah, I did submit my that 503.0 I was talking about to Twin Galaxies because someone else, like I wasn't ever gonna do that, but someone submitted their run. Like I won't call them out for it, but someone submitted their run to it, so they beat Andrew's run, and I thought, oh, we shouldn't touch that thing, so like it's like historical. But then that happened. I was like, well, if you're gonna do that, so that night, I was a little drunk too, so that might have played into my decision. But I was like, fine, I'll submit my run, and yeah, so under Twin Galaxies timing and rule set, I have a literally perfect Mario 1 speedrun on their leaderboard. So, haha.
That is awesome. I remember back when I was running glitchless, I ordered a bunch of blank VHS tapes because I was going to also record my attempts to a VHS.
Mhm.
And I was going to do the exact same thing. I was going to send it into Twin Galaxies, but on a VHS tape, if they would even accept that. I mean, I was going to have my, of course, online recording too,
Mhm.
but
All right.
I thought that would be fun to have an actual record recorded to like physical
Blaze it
media.
posted that task. So RTA is 502.55. So I think if I did my 8.4, it would be like with like the extra 42 frame, it would be like a 502.61 or 60. So pretty close.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
close.
close. I thought it was like .50 was RTA, but maybe that's something. Maybe they're thinking something else. Anyway, yeah, pretty good, I'd say. So, but yeah, glitchless is cool. Of course, yeah, of course they decide to make it a main category after I like had a stranglehold on the record for 4 years or whatever it was. Then they decide to do it. But whatever. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. But yeah. But yeah, since you talked about walkathon, you've done a bit of the category extensions.
Yeah, yeah, I like more like the full run categories on there,
Mm-hmm.
like you know, walkathon, glitchless, the co-op run.
Oh yeah.
That's all those are pretty fun. I never really got into the super short ones or the arbitrary ones like
Mm-hmm.
10 wall jumps or I mean like those are cool or like 1-1 with flower,
Yeah, that
whatever
one's
that one's
popular.
called. Yeah, I never got into those, but I do like the full game category
Mm-hmm.
with they're like still I don't know, it's still like completing the game,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't seem like too arbitrary. So
Yeah.
although
Um.
that stuff I love watching a lot of that stuff like all one ups and like all things like that. Like that's still fun to watch. Um like even just today I was watching SMB2 where it's like all mushrooms
Oh
and
yeah, that one's interesting. The routing for
yeah,
that.
I just love seeing stuff like that because it's still like a full game run.
Full game with extra steps.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, I know we've done some co-op. It's always a good time. Though we didn't
yeah,
this year. What up with that? Just not enough time.
yeah, yeah. I kind of wanted to do the ROM hack, the two players at the same time ROM
Mm.
hack. I think I'm kind of done with just like regular co-op, especially now that the record is beyond where I ever wanna push it to.
Fair enough.
Um, but it would be fun to do the ROM hack.
Mm-hmm. Is that the one I did with Cosmic at Pace, the bro op?
I
Or do you
think
mean like the two player at the same time one?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you
two
mean that
players where
one?
you're like
Okay.
on the screen at the same time. Yeah,
Got it, got it, yeah. That's the okay. Yeah. Yeah, I made those leaderboards exist on speedrun.com. They rejected it twice before they accepted it. I had to keep pushing him for it, but yeah. That's why I'm the
oh,
only
I
mod
think
of
I
that
remember
one.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think they didn't realize like how different it is or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
one
just
of
a
the
game. It's
reasons
like
they
a Sonic
rejected
game.
it, and they were like, "Oh, it's already a category extension here, see?" And I'm like, "No, that's not what it is."
Yeah. Yeah, I actually had runs up on my YouTube that was me and JD playing it,
Mm,
and like it got taken down. Nintendo or somebody filed a complaint, and they took it down.
fascinating.
And I think it's because I linked to the romhacking.net page where you download the patch file.
Hmm.
But I guess whoever reviewed the report must have thought I was linking to the actual ROM or something. I
Oh,
don't know.
okay. Because
I
I
can't think of any other reason why it would have been taken down. But
Yeah, because I posted romhacking.net links on my YouTube videos if I played a ROM hack, and it hasn't affected me yet. So that's really weird, actually. But yeah,
yeah,
I do still have on my computer, and I brought this up recently too for some reason, but you and Cosmic getting FPG at the same time on the co-op hack from AGDQ 2019.
oh yeah,
I still
world's
have it.
first.
World's first. It is on my computer. So again, didn't I give it to you actually? I might have sent you that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I have the file somewhere.
All right. I didn't remember if I did actually give it, but yeah, because I know we swapped some video files around that were important. So there you go. It is there for uploading purposes if wanted. First ever, because it was the first ever. Confirmed.
Yeah, and just to explain what this ROM hack is, it's
Yeah.
SMB1 except it's both players at the same time. So Mario and Luigi are on the screen at the same time, and you start out like spaced apart, but at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the level, or like when you come out of the warp pipe at the end of 1-1, you are exactly together. And
Mm-hmm.
so did GDQ Cosmic and I had done flagpole glitch. So it's like simultaneous flagpole glitch at the same time where like Mario and Luigi are basically overlapping. So we talk about that being the world's first exact same time
Mm-hmm.
FPG.
Yep. Which is funny because I think that hack like drops inputs a lot because it like can't handle all that.
Yeah, I'm
So
pretty sure it does.
it's like extra hard to do runs of that. But yeah, I had the record for a while because me and Smartball ran it at that GDQ. But yeah, I'm glad that's gotten a lot more attention over the years. It's still not like a huge leaderboard, but there are
Yeah, it
definitely
would be
some
a fun
runs on it.
one. There's room for optimizing it, or for I think I watched the record a couple months ago, and there's still some time to save. It doesn't
Was
look
that
too
Cosmic
too
and
bad.
Tour's more recent record?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Because yeah, it's definitely not perfect, but it's getting to like more
it's
optimized
getting
levels.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's so hard to optimize something like that because you can't like practice by yourself and
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
to like have someone with you. So it's really hard to get that to all work out, but yeah,
for sure.
glad it's getting some attention. So, because again, only I'm the only mod, I'm the only one that really cared to make it a thing on the leaderboard, make it a leaderboard. So,
Yeah,
there it
I'm glad
is.
it's there.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I encourage people to try it out if you have someone to try it out with. That's about it. Anyway, going back to the category extensions though, I know we did walkathon, brief co-op mention, but you did second quest too.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
So second quest and both quests,
Oh
they
yeah,
used
both
to not
quests.
get they used to not get any attention at all. So second
Hmm.
quest is just after you beat the game. There, it's a more difficult challenge where the Goombas are beetles, the enemies move faster, the platforms are smaller,
Hmm.
and so it's basically the same game but a little bit more challenging in different ways. And that was just it was a lot of fun to do that and to try to bring more attention to it, because it is like you're playing through something that's built into the game. It's not just some arbitrary
Hmm.
decision that you're making, or like restriction. It's like, here's an actual mode that's in the game and nobody's really running it. And so I wanted so badly for other people to play it. And so I remember putting in a lot of time for second quest to get I think I pushed it down originally to a 457.
Hmm.
and then and then I was actually really proud of that run. I came back to it at some point to add in FPGs, and
Yeah, it was
I
because
think I got 456.
it's because of me.
Oh, okay.
I got low. He was like, nope, got to do something about that.
I think I did it in one session or one stream.
And you
I
were
got
like telling me like,
456.
oh, this is pretty hard. Don't worry, I won't take it that fast. And then it was like that day.
I've never, same day got my goal. So I
Mm-hmm.
was so happy that I didn't have to actually put a ton of time in there. Sometimes it just happens like that,
Mm-hmm.
and so but now it's like ridiculously low, just like regular
It's
any percent.
454. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, okay.
So
So it's like I'm never going to play that again. But
yeah.
also there's both quests. So it's like beating the game and then doing second quest and beating that.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to, I think when we first started doing that, we would beat the game and then world select up to world 8 and
Mm-hmm.
then start it and go. And we didn't realize, I can't remember who it was that pointed it out. It's like you can just hit A and what is the
Whole day and
continue?
start. Yeah.
Hold A and start, yeah, and you just start at world 8 without having to go through all the levels and select world 8.
Mm-hmm.
So that pushed it down. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when I got one of my records, I tried to also get the both quests record, and I think I died somewhere. I can't remember what I left my both quest time at, but it's so hard. It was so hard for me to like get a really good time or like get record and then try to keep my cool to go through world 8 again and finish it like that. Now the record, I'm pretty sure it's close to sub 8. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
8 flat something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. It might have been Blaze It.
Mm-hmm.
I have a terrible memory when it comes to those things.
But yeah. Yeah, that category was interesting. Because these are all like I remember this time because when I joined, I was like part of the movement to start really making category extensions get pushed down. It was like Roy and me, you've done a few. Uh Now it's just insane, but those were the good old days that I remember.
One thing that was funny in some of my videos, or one of my videos where I think I got record and then went for both quests. I think I died somewhere in both quests, and there were so many comments that were just like, "This isn't whatever time he dies right here at this timestamp," and the timestamp's like 8 minutes
Mm-hmm.
into the run or something. It's like, yeah, but go to the actual run, and it's right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people who don't watch the video that wanna comment and let you know that you're wrong before what they
Mm-hmm.
haven't even looked at the video.
Ah, I love YouTube commenters. They're the
Yeah,
best. Well, sometimes they are the best. Sometimes they aren't. Oh my god.
probably
That's
just trolling anyway. They
yeah.
probably saw it and then just wanted to leave a troll comment.
Yeah, that's why if I like die in both quests, I won't show any of the both quests because well
That's
that's
a
not
good
why,
idea.
but it does help.
Yeah,
Apparently, I didn't even think about that being an issue, but people are smart and intelligent, so I got to remember that. But yeah, God, the just remembering the old category extension pushing. I remember when I had like half the category extension records. It's a fun time.
yeah,
Not anymore, but was good.
yeah. I remember you and Roy were dominating the boards for the longest time.
Well, if you can't get the main categories, you got to get the easy category extensions. Although then I went on to get like every main category except any percent anyway, so oh well, but there you go. I mean, they're just so fun. They're a nice like break. Although not so
Yeah,
much anymore. Now it's like, oh, you want a PB in second quest? I have a 455 in second quest. No.
yeah.
Oh, pacifist? I have like a mid 56. Anything would be like hard to PB in. So it's like the fun's a little gone. All of them are like grinds now, but getting them there, it was a lot of fun because it's just a nice distraction from the monotonous main category bullshit.
Yeah, for sure. And some of the Game Genie code runs are pretty
Oh
cool
yeah,
too.
Asan was my first ever world record. So
That's
special
the one
place
where
in my heart. Walk
you
through
can run
walls
through
from the left.
walls,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. You can do like a frame perfect jump with good subpixels into the flagpole base and get full FPG every time. And I was super new, didn't know what I was doing really bad, but I somehow got all five. And so I got world record, and that was my first world record in like January of 2018. So good
Yeah, that's
times.
awesome.
Did I even have sub five yet? I might have like just had gotten sub five recently or something. I don't know. I'd have to like look at the history books, but good times were had. So is that all the Mario one we need to
I
know?
think so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any other category extensions, but that might
I
be
don't know
everything.
everything you've done. I just know the things that we like both happened to run at the same time. So I think that
Yeah.
was everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. But now what about the lost levels though?
Lost levels. Um, I think I did lost levels. I think I learned it for the second 12-hour challenge I did, where it's, learn a game in 12 hours and do a run.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I got an
Nope.
eight. It was like a low eight something, and maybe like an 809 or something like that in the first 12 hours. There were a lot of strats that were different back then, a lot of things that weren't known yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I just did that because very similar physics to SMB1. And also, I think Darby and maybe Cosmic were running it at the time. I can't remember. Uh, so it just kind of seemed like the natural progression to go from SMB1 to Lost Levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is for most runners in Mario 1, I think. It's almost like a category extension kind of thing. Like it's just
But that
something else
was,
to do.
yeah, and it was a lot of fun because back then, um, not a ton of people were running it. There were still new discoveries being made, whether it was like time saves or just better strats in general. And even after I quit running it, there was still tons of stuff being figured out with different setups. But yeah, that game was a lot of fun, and I think I'd played it for a while. I think I got to a low eight something, and then I came back after people figured out how to do the wall clip. So in 1-2, there's a way you
Mhm.
can get the right subpixels and then clip through a wall rather than jumping up
Yeah.
a series of blocks.
Goofy was the first to add
Um,
that into the world record.
yeah, and so I think the record might have been like 758 or 757 when I came back to it, and
58.
then I learned that setup. I can't even remember what I got the record one time that lasted probably less than a week,
Because
but
Takate was killing it back then, yeah.
yeah, Tecate was just like nonstop setting
All
records and always like being right there about to get a record,
mhm.
getting screwed over by Bruce or Bowser
Oh
or
yeah,
something. Um,
the classic.
but yeah, I got so lucky. I mean, it's crazy because I know when I was running it, when we were trying to push it lower than that, when we were trying to get to 755,
Hmm.
Takate, Cosmic, and I all had so many runs die in 8-4,
Oh
whether it
yeah.
was to like Bruce or Bowser or just like something really dumb. And then I can't remember if it was, maybe it was just when Nifsky came out of nowhere and just like added in all these crazy strats and got a 753 out of nowhere. But like, gets a good Bruce and Bowser, didn't have to die 10,000 times. I was just like, dang it, man. Like, I wish I had just been able to play this and not lose 50 runs to bad patterns. But also, like, a lot of that is probably planning it out and knowing which frame rules are
Hmm.
better. So it's kind of just when I think about it, I'm like, well, that's my own fault for not figuring out like better
Yeah.
frame rules
Although, like, at
to
least
play on.
back enough, like, that wasn't something you'd even consider. So that's
Yeah,
just how it was.
yeah,
But yeah, you got the record once, and I know you had the first 757, and I remember you you were like going for 757. You were happy about it. You didn't even know like, oh wait, that's world record because it was 758 still.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah. It just kind of came out of nowhere, I guess. I
Mhm.
didn't expect it to happen, but there it was. And then I believe Takate got the record like a week or less than a week later, and then kept pushing it
Probably.
down
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah. Although your 755, which is still your PB, I'm pretty sure, is really,
Yeah,
really funny.
yeah. The My current PB has a pattern that was thought to be impossible. It has a Bowser pattern that was thought to be impossible, but there's one frame that you can jump on. And I didn't know this until
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, but I know that after I got past Bruce, Takate knew what pattern it was, and in his head, he's thinking
Rip.
like, is an impossible pattern. Yeah, and then I get through the hammers, and then we find out later, yeah, there's one frame, and I just happened to jump on that frame. So I lucked out so hard,
Yeah.
and I'm glad I didn't know that it was that pattern, or I would have choked trying to get a frame perfect. I just jumped and got super lucky,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like one frame under, 755.
Yeah,
It's
literally
like 999 or something.
755.999, yeah. Which is
Yeah.
so, it's so funny. But yeah, like, I knew you, I'm pretty sure in the run, because I'm pretty sure I was there, you were saying, like, I think this is an impossible Bowser. So you, like, kind of knew. So you were like, you popped off so hard when you didn't die. Because I think you thought for sure you were dying.
Well, I probably was saying that just with the assumption that I'm going to get screwed over on Bowser.
Mm.
Like I didn't know. I definitely didn't know the pattern, but I was just like, it's going to kill me because that's what's always happened in the
Mm-hmm.
past is get a record run and then you just lose it to Bruce or Bowser.
Mm-hmm.
We were so used to losing runs there, and it used to be the same way in 4-4. We used to joke all the time about how 4-4 Bowser, it's like he knows what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to joke about that all the time because you're like, I'm going to run under him. And then he would change directions and land on you. So you're like, I'm going to always jump over him. And then he never did a pattern that you could get through.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, I remember I would do multiple sessions of lost levels. I wouldn't get a run to World 5 because I would lose like 20 runs to 4-4 Bowser. I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
this just isn't fun. This really isn't fun. And one day I was practicing and I was getting good Bowsers 100% of the time. I was practicing from like earlier in the level up to Bowser, and I was getting good patterns 100%. I was like, what? How is this possible? I figured out which frame rule I had started on, and then because this might have been before there was a practice ROM for
Mm-hmm.
it. I think I was just practicing like off the regular ROM, and I found out that if you hit certain enemies and you're on that frame rule, you would always get a good Bowser. So that kind of changed, at least for me, that changed speedrunning that game entirely because now it was like every single run you're getting to World 5,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you get out a 1-2 clip and all that. So it made it way more enjoyable. And if it wasn't for that, there's no way I would have grinded for the time that I did.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's like my one of my contributions. I feel like that's like one of my main
Mm-hmm.
contributions to that run. It's just improving the consistency of 4-4.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I remember that being a really big pain.
Yeah.
I'm glad I never like ran it at a time where that really mattered. Because I would have hated life. Like Bruce and
Yeah.
Bowser were already torture.
Yeah.
It's the difference between like any percent Mario 1 and any percent that game is it, not only did they add a Bowser, they added another Bowser
Yeah.
essentially. So you have to get through 3 of them. Very fun. Yeah, mapping out frame rules without a practice ROM is so not fun to do.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
God for
difficult
that.
to know for sure. And then also, if you don't know that like apparently one of the enemies actually does affect the pattern somehow, uh yeah, that's difficult to
Hmm.
know what's going on.
Yeah, it's.
Because I think what happened is when I figured out that frame rule, the 4-4 frame rule, I told Takate, and he started practicing it. He was like, "I'm getting bad patterns," and I was like, "Hang on." I was like, "Which enemies are you hitting?" And he was hitting different enemies. And then when he switched, the Bowser pattern switched.
Hmm.
And I think up until that point, it was just assumed that the enemies can't affect the Bowser pattern in any way.
Mm.
And I don't know how they do, but they apparently do.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. but they do, and that's all that matters. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, fun game. I think that's all you've done in Lost Levels, that category, right?
As far as records and stuff, yeah,
Mm.
there were a couple of other things that I contributed to. One is in 8.4, just like a different setup for, I guess it's like room 3,
G Room.
where people would normally bounce off the wall or try to do something to get down there, and I just came up with the strat that I think most people do it now, where you just walk and
Oh,
then
that
just
was
like do
you?
a jump.
Oh yeah, I
Hmm.
love that
Yeah,
strat. Okay.
that was my strat. And then when I was working on collecting 8.4 pattern data, I accidentally found out that if you lose like some number of subpixels, you can manipulate Bowser's pattern on an impossible pattern.
Mm.
And so what I was doing is I was like, basically I had this these task inputs and I was playing it from Bruce to Bowser, but I had messed up something to where I think I accidentally had a down press in there, and it changed Bowser's pattern because I noticed that like Bowser's data was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Nifsky might have been running it at the time, or I can't remember how it happened, but I told Nifsky like what I this accident that I came across, and then I think he tested it and found out like, oh, you can like do these inputs, yeah, and then like you can get through Bowser on an impossible pattern, and he did that in a run. I can't remember if it was just a PB or a record or just like a random run, but he actually used that in a run to get through
Hmm.
Bowser one time. I thought that was super cool.
I had no idea about that. So
Yeah.
it's rare I learn something new about these games. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, you know the part where it's like there's the beetle and then you have to do the jump to go like down the tunnel.
Mm.
It's like right there if you lose just like you don't even I don't even know if you might lose one frame. I think that's the
Oh
downside. It's
no.
like you lose one frame, but you don't die, right? So
I think
fair
that's
trade
worth
off,
it.
I'd say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds pretty good. Yeah, that's cool. I'll have to do if I when I run any percent again, because my 754 is so overdue. I've been to 8.4 so many times, but I'll need to like map it out a little
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, you'll have to ask him the details because I know he
Hmm.
knows he understands how it works better than I do. But that was a funny like actual accident to discover that.
No, there you go. So speaking of, since we're still just talking about Mario 1 and like different versions, there's you're like known for doing a lot of ROM hacks. I know we talked about the Celeste Mario, but there's some other ones.
Yeah, yeah. Extra Mario Bros.
Mm.
Is one of my favorite ROM hacks, and it's the concept is basically like Metroid plus Mario. So it's still the Mario One engine. Like all the physics are the same as Mario. It's still like left to right scrolling. You can't go backwards, but it is open world, so you can run around. There's different pipes that will loop you back to the beginning, but there's different areas. There's like really cool music, and there are special power ups that you get. A lot of them are like Metroid inspired. For example, there's you can get space jump, screw attack, and then there's other upgrades you can get that upgrade your fireballs so that you can break bricks or break spikes. And all these are just kind of like different ways to progress in the game. So you'll go through and you can get a power up, and now that power up allows you to access another area that you couldn't access before. And I had so much fun playing that ROM hack because again, like nobody was speedrunning it, so it was just kind of I'm coming up with strats, I'm coming up with routing and figuring out like what are the optimal ways to do all this. And I had so much fun doing that. And I think that's the first time when I was actually doing speedrunning that I realized this brings me so much more joy than grinding out for like world records in popular games. For example, like actually going for a record in Mario 1 was not as fun as playing this game that nobody else even really plays. So,
Hmm.
Extra Mario Bros. Another game I highly recommend it to anybody. I was hoping also that when I was streaming it and playing it a lot, I was hoping that more SMD1 runners and other people would play it. Uh, we got a handful of people did play it.
Hmm.
I know you did some runs of it. Lakuki did some runs. And there's like a few other on the leaderboards, but yeah, I'm surprised, especially with as much as other people have speedrun ROM hacks, other people have not speedrun this one.
Yeah.
It's it's surprising to me because it's a very very well done ROM hack,
Hmm.
and it's a lot of fun. So
Your your times are
there's
pretty
different
damn good too,
categories.
though. So
They are, yeah. There's still room on all of them.
yeah,
There's still
but
several seconds, even on the short ones. There's still several seconds. So the way you normally beat this game in Extra Mario Bros. Is there are 8 keys that you collect. The keys in there look like orbs from the other Mario games. Uh, you collect 8 keys and then you go beat the game. Actually, when you collect 5 keys, it unlocks the final area, but the 5 key ending is not the true ending. You have to get all 8 keys to get the true ending. So I'm streaming this game. I think I was doing 5 key runs, and um, a user in my chat found out a way to do a wrong warp so that then you could beat the game with 0 keys.
hmm,
So you go to the area that you normally have to have 5 keys to unlock, and you can basically use space jump to make Mario scroll forward on the screen. And then when you go in the pipe, it's just like a regular wrong warp. Now you're in the area that you're not supposed to be in. Yeah.
hmm.
So it took the run time from like 12 minutes or something down to 6 minutes, something like that. But it was super cool to have all that happening like while I'm streaming the game. It was really exciting.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know how that wrong word was found. So yeah, that one it's a pain in the ass to do though for me still. Like gotta
Yeah,
like
it's very precise timing. Cause so with space jump, you get one extra jump in the air in this game, and if you jump when Mario's head is right at a like a ceiling, it'll just like move you forward a few pixels. So then there's like this ceiling where you have to just move Mario all the way across it. So you're doing this crazy timing of double jumps all the way across. I don't know how many it takes. It's like 20 jumps or
mhm,
10 jumps or something. But that's like the make or break it part, right? You'll get there and you could have a killer run, but then if you have a bad wrong warp setup, then your run's dead. And
mhm.
sometimes you'll just get it super quick. It's really hard to get it consistent, but it's still a fun run for sure. I think the record for that now is down below 6 minutes,
Mhm.
so it's a quick one. It's like a really quick one to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I would say it is pretty hard though. Like you want to have Mario 1 knowledge if you want to play it optimally.
True,
So
true.
that's the one thing.
Yeah, and there are the thing that sucks is like if you there is at least one clip and a crazy wall jump you have to do if you want to do a top time. What I would love to see though is I would love to break the categories into glitchless categories as well,
Mm,
so you don't have to worry about wall jumps and clips, because in my opinion that's what kind of makes it suck. As I was
mm,
pushing the time down, it got to the point where it's like, well, now I have to do 3 clips and this thing and get it perfect, and that just it starts not being fun. I would rather just do glitchless and run through, which would be exciting because then you get to like reroute the entire game.
mm,
The whole game is routed around you're clipping through these places and going places you're not supposed to be.
mhm.
So the glitchless route would be completely different.
It would have to be 5 keys too though.
Yeah, yeah. The glitchless would only be like 5 key and 8 key.
Mhm.
And when I used to run the 8 key route, I went through all these rooms that you don't go through anymore. At a certain point, I started doing the task route.
Mm,
I think I was talking to Happy Lee, who is a tasser, and he's familiar with the game, and he was just like, "Why don't you just do this clip in this room?" I was like, "Ah, because that's like a crazy task clip." It wasn't really that difficult. I practiced it for just like a few minutes, and I was like, "Okay," changing the route, and then it was an
mm,
immediate several minute time save just
mm.
by doing this other clip. But again, now it's like now you have to hit this clip every single time, and hopefully hit it first try. And so, as cool as it is to have this giant time save, it also kind of sucks the you have to get this pixel perfect jump, and it has to be the exact height, and I don't know. Some people love that stuff. It
Mhm.
for me, it kind of burns me out.
That's fair. But yeah, the game's really fun to run.
Yes.
So and it just has a couple things that aren't fun, but overall, I still need to
Yeah.
do the longer categories where I don't have to do that bullshit.
I'd say that the major thing that sucks is the 8 key run. The final Bowser fight is completely RNG dependent, and
Mm,
you can lose an entire minute just to bad RNG. And
fun.
so, as much as I want to run, I want to improve the 8 key time, but like I said, there's I think 3 clips plus that RNG where you can lose up to a minute. And so like doing a 20-minute run on top of all that stuff, it's uh, I'm not excited to do it. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's fair. I am not a fan of RNG either, so
Yeah.
I guess 5 key would be for me. Need to try it one of
Yeah.
these days.
5 key, and I would love to route out 5 key glitchless.
Hmm.
There's another category that nobody's done yet for one-up mushrooms. There are 20 hidden one-up mushrooms in the game. And
Mm.
so it would take you to rooms and areas that you don't normally go. So that one is like completely open for somebody to route and do runs of.
Is that the 100% category?
Yes. So
Okay.
it's 100% which the game actually tracks collection of the one-up mushrooms. So
Hmm.
it's like 100% one-up mushroom collection basically.
Hmm. Got it. I was just trying to remember what categories are on the board. I know there was an empty 100% category, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually found a video the other day on YouTube that is somebody doing the all the one-ups, and I haven't watched it yet.
Mm.
But there is at least something to go off of for information about how to do them.
No, that's good.
So some of them are like really difficult to even collect. So I'd love to see how somebody's able to do all this.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even know there were one-up mushrooms in that game. I'm learning
Did you
so
know that?
much new things today.
Did you know that there is a second quest with a special area?
No?
Yeah. So after you beat the game with 8 keys, you can continue, which is basically into second quest, and you are now Metal Mario, which means you're basically invincible. Like you can just run through enemies and kill them, but you can also walk on lava. So if you go to area 0, there's this really long stretch of lava that you can now run across, and you go to this special area, and it's almost like Kaizo level difficulty,
Hmm.
where you go through this series of rooms, and each room gives you a power up, and then it's like challenges based on using that power up to get through. And I feel like that's got to be the real true ending of the game, is to like
Mhm.
beat the game and then go to the second quest and then run through this really difficult series of rooms. I don't know what the category would be called for that, but I've always wanted to do that as well.
Man, that game has a lot more potential than I thought.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, I hope it gets more popular. I think there's only like 4 different names on the board or
Yeah.
something.
Well, I look forward to you running it again and helping make it a little more popular.
Yeah, we'll see. Um,
Yeah.
Hopefully, if I ever become famous, I'll play it in front of a lot of people. I did get it into GDQ, that little hotfix
Oh,
show.
that's right. Yeah. You did run it on GDQ.
So
So,
some people got to see a little bit of it.
yeah.
So that's good. But that was a while ago. But yeah, that was fun. I'm glad people got to see
Yeah, it
it.
was a good run too.
Except I did the deathless category because optimally you die like 4 times at the start. So you have 1 life and you can game over and then work back to the start and it saves time. So I wanted to do deathless because I thought that looked really stupid on the
Yeah.
thing. And then I died. So it wasn't deathless anymore. It was like, well, oh well. But yeah, other than that,
Yeah.
I think I did a good job of explaining how it worked. So
Yeah, it was good. It was a good run.
and that was like 3 years ago. Ugh, where's the time going? I'm coming up on like my 6 year anniversary of speedrunning. Like
Oh, wow.
it's this month. So
It's crazy it's been that long.
I know. What the fuck? I don't like that. So yeah, I know that was the big ROM hack, but I know you've done Toad's Adventure. I've done that quite a bit, so that's why I know.
Yeah, I have a lot of good memories of Toad's Adventure. I believe it was Barnow who originally was running that game, and I was really sick one I think it was like around the holidays one year, and then I just went out and learned the run and started doing attempts of it.
Hmm.
And it's from the time I ran it until now, it's the time has come down so much because people found all these new strats and all these quicker ways to do things.
Hmm.
And I always wanted to go back and improve my time. I remember one time I went back and practiced it a couple years ago, but I think the maybe it was like the RNG, the Bowser RNG at the end, where I was like, I'm not doing this
Hmm.
because you
Yeah,
can get
that
so many bad patterns, and I was like, I'm not doing this to myself again.
that last room
Uh,
is stupid. Very, very stupid.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Toad's Adventure is a really cool run. I'd love to see more people do the warpless run of that
I've
because there's
wanted
some pretty
to,
cool
but
levels.
that game was like made to be pretty hard. So like doing all those levels has got to be really, really difficult. But yeah, it's on my
Yeah,
list for sure. But
cool. Yeah, I look forward to it. Like I said, the warpless run of that is super cool to watch, and it is difficult.
mhm.
But I don't think very many people even have warpless times.
Probably just one
So
or two people. So yeah, but yeah, those are really fun ROM hacks. So hopefully they get some more attention. Is that
yeah,
all the ROM hacks you've done?
those are all the yeah those are all the ROM hacks I've run, and of course we talked earlier about the Celeste
Hmm.
Mario Zap and Dash.
Yeah.
That's one of the most well made ROM hacks I've ever seen. Where
Hmm.
it is an SMB1 ROM hack, but it is nothing like SMB1. It's got its own physics engine, entire like everything about
Yeah.
it is different. So it's funny to call it an SMB1 ROM hack when it's really just like an entirely different game.
I mean, Mario is there. Little
Yeah,
Mario 1
you got the
sprite.
Mario sprite. Yeah,
So there you go. That's all you
yeah,
need. Yeah. That looks very interesting. I'll have to. I want to play it. I do. So fucking busy though, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Well, I guess that's enough Mario. Well, there's more Mario, I guess, but trying to think of what else you've done because I know you well, after Mario 1, you started doing like the little spreadsheet thing where people could like if they like subbed or donated or bit cheered or whatever, you could like vote on a speed run.
yeah, yeah. I made a list of games that I want to run. So there were ones that I'd already planned
Hmm.
on speed running, and then I would just let people basically allocate their sub donation bits towards whatever game. So to basically like prioritize the order of what I'm going to do.
Hmm.
And I think the first game that won on that was Super Metroid, and so I got to go back and improve my Super Metroid time. And my goal with this was to do like a different game every month, and then like move on to something else. Um, or it was like hit the certain goal, but then I had a cutoff to where if I didn't hit the goal, I was going to move on anyway.
Mm.
And I think this lasted I don't know how long, like maybe a year or something like that. And then I kind of took a long break from speedrunning, and got out of the habit of it. I still have the list. I still want to run a bunch of games. It's just a matter of actually being able to allocate the time to
Hmm.
doing it because it is like a big time sink
Oh yeah.
to and it's like I don't like to do it if I only have one day a week to do it because it's usually that one day I'm just like refreshing myself, like derusting, and then if I don't get to have multiple days in a row of playing it, it's almost kind of pointless for me to do it.
Hmm.
But yeah, right now, from that list, I have SMB1 Warpless, which I haven't finished yet, and then I think it's Excite Bike, Marble Madness, and I can't remember what else is coming up after that.
Hmm. Well, since you just said Marble Madness, I feel like we have to talk about that because that was like the other big game. for you?
Yeah, yeah, it was. Um, Marble Madness is so I actually used to speedrun Marble Madness back before I ever streamed. I say
Hmm.
I speedran it. I would practice going through the game as quick as I could, and I knew of the speedrun at the time, and I can't remember who had the record. This was like 2014 or early 2015 or something. And I just remember seeing these runs and thinking like, there's no way in the world I'll ever come close to this. Um, and I've I can't remember how I even started speedrunning it. I think what happened is I looked up a River City Ransom speedrun. I saw Yelsrick's name on the leaderboard. I followed him, and then he went live. And he might have been playing River City Ransom at the time, but then I think he started speedrunning Marble Madness at some point after that. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to start speedrunning this too. And that's pretty much it. I was already pretty familiar with the game, and I think at the end of one of my streams, I just fired up Marble Madness and did a playthrough of it, and then I got super hooked because Marble Madness is it's a really short game, but it's really fun because there's a lot of I guess different inputs and timings on there that make it feel completely different than something like Mario One.
Yeah, lots of
Uh,
D-pad.
Yes, yes. You can't just start off playing Marble Madness on a brick controller and play for 3 or 4 hours because your thumb will tear open. And that's happened to me multiple times where I go back to play Marble Madness and I haven't like properly built up a callus, and the D-pad will just tear open my thumb, and then I can't play for a week while it heals.
Mm-hmm.
But Marble Madness is another one of those games where I think I got like a so the record right now is a 238. Kind of like sub 3 is a time that most people aim for. And I think I had like a 250 something. And I kept aiming because I was like, 247 is my goal. I'm going to get a 247 and I'm going to quit. And before I got a 247, I got so consistent at like all the different levels, but I couldn't put it together in one run. So my sum of best was like a 241 or 242 or something. It was like way lower than my PB. And so it's just another thing, kind of like how SMB one happened for me, where I kept getting a better time. And I was like, well, I can do better than that. And I just kept pushing the time down. And I got the record at some point, and I think it lasted like 3 days before Yelsrick took it back. But yeah, Marble Madness was a lot of fun. I think I was running that in 2020 when I was like pushing for the record,
Mm-hmm.
and during that time there were new discoveries made, like new time saves, new ways to do things. So it was cool to be there and be a part of that, like while that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so of course all that helped push the time down even more. But yeah, Marble Madness. That's another one that you should play,
Mm.
Ace, and other people should give a try.
I have a 355. That's good enough.
You got to get that sub 3.
Mm. We'll see.
Got to get that sub 3.
I'm not a fan of the D-pad, so we'll
Yeah,
see.
just play it on keyboard.
Uh,
You
I
won't
ain't
you won't
about
mess up
that.
your inputs there.
I ain't about that. Not anymore. I'm a console boy now. It's fine, but I don't know. It's fun, but yeah, just like a workout, and I already don't work out, so no thanks. But yeah, cool game, and I know you and Yells are the only people that have sub 240s, right? Still.
Yeah, yeah. Ellipsis is right there. I think
Mm-hmm.
he's got like a 240 or 241.
Oh, okay.
Um, but he's right there, and maybe on the grind up to GDQ if it gets in. Maybe he'll get into the 239 territory.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, couple world records of Marble Madness, pretty good, I'd say, because that's another one of those games that's like really hard to optimize or like get time saves for.
Yeah, yeah, and it does have frame rules on there that are shorter than Mario. I think it's like a 16 frame frame rule. So it's like your time saves. You're always aiming for the next frame rule as opposed to just like playing a little more optimally. It's like if
Mm-hmm.
you're going to save time, you have to get 16 frames faster, basically. And since the time that I got a record and then Yells got the record, there has been at least one more time save discovered
Mm.
that I think Ellipsis figured out, where if you pause the game after you cross the finish line, it still progresses to the next level, but it's like I think it pauses the RNG as well,
Mm.
which helps you later in the run so that you don't have to wait. There's a stage at the end of it's at the end of Aerial where there are these hammers, and
Mm.
normally you have to play it really really fast to get a good pattern. But what this does is it allows you to get a pattern where there's basically no hammer in your way, and so you
Mm.
don't have to slow down at all, and just that like few frames that you save there end up allowing you to save the next frame rule. Because we were
That's
always like
cool.
right there. Yeah, we were always right there thinking like, God, like there's got to be a way to save just a few more frames on here, and then Ellipsis figured out that you know pausing at the end of a
Sick.
level affects that.
That's
So
cool.
there's still room. There's still room to improve there
Mm-hmm.
whenever people go back to run it.
Yeah, I mean, record right now is already really, really insane, and you're not far off
Yeah.
at all. So,
No, I think I'm like a frame rule or two off of the record.
mm-hmm.
So knowing that there's like, I think 4 frame rules I could save when I go back is pretty exciting.
Yeah, always there for the taking. So,
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that sucks about Marble Madness is when you're playing through, you can get a magic wand that will give you
mm-hmm.
time. It'll add time to your clock, but it's slow. You lose like 3 seconds or something like that for the animation, and there's nothing you can do about it. It just happens. And so I remember getting very annoyed deep into my grind where I would have a good run and then I would get a wand and it would kill the run. It's like I didn't kill the run. The game decided that it was time for me to reset,
mm-hmm.
and I try to avoid any speed run like that now. But what I one of my friends gave me the idea to every time I'm running it, to just finish out a run with how many ever wands I get, and then basically have this other section of like, here's my 1-1 PB, my 2-1 PB. So even when I get wanded, it won't be completely over. Like obviously the 80% run would be over, but then I could still compete against a time to
Mm-hmm.
finish out. So it wouldn't be as bad.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
It's like in Mario 3 in World 8 when you get the hands
Mm-hmm.
and you get up to 3 hands. That's another reason I don't really want to grind out that category. But if I ever grind that out again, I would have like a 1 hand, 2 hand, 3 hand
Mm-hmm.
PB. So
Makes
every
sense.
time I lose it to RNG, it's not completely lost. Can
Mm-hmm.
still keep competing,
Yeah,
finish out the run.
it's a smart idea. I don't think,
Yeah.
in my mind, I'd just be like, oh, but this isn't a real thing, so I'd just not even bother. But I
Yeah.
understand the reasoning. But
Yeah. And I think even one of the old marble records, like one of Andrew G's old records, had a wand in it,
mm-hmm.
which is pretty crazy because that's like a flat, 3 seconds or whatever, just automatically gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can believe it. But at least when he would have had it, it wasn't nearly as much competition or optimization. So I guess it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. I think it's come down like 10 seconds
Hmm.
since that.
Wow. Speaking of Mario 3, that was on your spreadsheet too, and you finished all the goals for that. It seems like.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. For Mario 3, um, I did the any percent no wrong warp and any percent with wrong warp
Mm-hmm.
runs. And I think my goal for no wrong warp was just sub 11, and I can't remember what my any percent goal was, but I did hit those, and I I really really enjoyed playing Mario 3, except for the hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, with like the RNG stuff that kills the run, that is it's very annoying to me. Where I'm like, what am I doing with my time? Why would I do this? But the game itself is incredible. And I can
Mhm.
remember years and years ago listening to Mitch Flower Power talk about how much better SMB3 is than SMB1. And at the time, I was running SMB1, and I was just like, I don't know if I agree with that. And after running SMB3, like later, I can definitely agree SMB3 is like a way better game. Like
Mhm.
in my opinion, it's a better speed game. It's a better game, um, mostly because you're not just holding right and B the whole time. There's like so much. There's so much more to the game than just like frame perfect tricks and timing your jumps. Um, yeah, just like all the movement optimizations and all the other stuff on there, it makes it a way more fun speed game.
Yeah, but you might like. It reminded me. You might like the SMB3 Speedrunners edition. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I have heard of it, and I actually would probably really enjoy running that.
Hmm.
It's like no, you don't get hands, and aren't the auto scrollers not auto
Non-auto. Yeah.
scrollers? Yeah, I would actually really love running that.
Well, there you go. But yeah, it
Yeah,
removes all the RNG. Well, I guess not the Hammer Bro, unless they've updated. I guess I'm not entirely sure. I tried it out a while ago, and it was fun, but it's just if you're tired of the RNG, something else to do.
yeah,
It's pretty
that might
fun.
be a good intro back into it. Is
Yeah.
start with the speedrunner edition, so I don't have to deal with the stuff I don't like, and
Mhm.
then take that experience and go back to like the regular game.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Except then the auto scrollers again. It's like, oh, well, I have to wait. Oops.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. What else? Trying to think of. Oh yeah, you did Chippendale too.
Yeah, Chippendale is a really fun speed run. Um, Luckily, with that one, there is a way to manipulate the RNG, so
Hmm.
you don't have to worry about random boss patterns. You know exactly which boss pattern you will get, and that's one of the main reasons I decided to run that after Marble Madness and Mario 3 and all this stuff, where I was like, I'm so done with RNG. I knew Chippendale didn't have to deal with that, so um, that's a game that I played a lot as a kid. Could never really get far playing it, and then it was fun to go back. I played through it casually before I actually did speedrun stuff with it, and there are two categories I played. There's just like the regular any percent category, and then there's the all levels category. Because in the any percent run, you skip I think three of the levels, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I just set goals based on like roughly this many seconds or percent away from whatever the world record was, and then I just aimed for those times, and then got those times. And it was really nice because at the time, Takate, who has had a million records in that game as well, he was able to tell me like all the strats and basically coached me, like told me like here's like a visual cue, here's like the inputs you do here. So that was a lot of fun to run just because of that. It's like I didn't have to like dig up information or whatever. It was just all the info was available to me, and I might play through it and not know that I'm doing something unoptimally, and so for Takate to be like, oh, like right here, like you can do this and it'll save this much time. It was like really helpful. So it's another reason why speedrunning and Twitch is so fun, is because of the collaboration and just the help. Everybody's always really helpful, uh, for the most part, across all the games.
Definitely. Yeah, it's my favorite part too. People. So, but yeah, you got really good times in that game from what I remember. So,
Yeah, they were pretty good. I mean, there's still obviously plenty of time to save
yeah.
in both of their runs, but that's when you start crossing into the you have to be perfect
Hmm.
territory, and any like minor movement mistake is just a reset.
Yeah, that game
Um,
is very optimal. Need
yeah,
requires optimal. There's no frame rules, so every frame, like, well, as far as I know, I could
yeah,
be wrong, but like, it needs optimal gameplay at all times.
Yeah. So I feel like I stopped at a reasonable spot with those times
Yeah,
before it got like too frustrating.
yeah, that makes sense. Um, did you do anything else part of the spreadsheet? I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember if there were games from the spreadsheet that I've speedrun, but I have done some power pad stuff
Mm.
that is on it is on the spreadsheet, but I don't think that goal was met. But I still have been practicing some of that.
Yeah.
So, Super Team Games is a game made for the power pad, which for anybody that doesn't know, it's just like think like a DDR pad that was made for Nintendo,
Hmm.
and so you're actually like running on it with your feet, running on these pads. And I couldn't find any speed runs of the games online, at least back when I started doing it in 2017 or 18. And Super Team Games is there's a few different game modes in it, but you're a kid running and like jumping over logs, jumping over water pits. You like getting in a crab suit and you do like a crab walk and you blow up a bubble and you run in a bubble. It's pretty silly, but it's like physically exhausting. And there are actual speed strats. Like there's optimal ways you have to like build up your speed a certain way, and you want to be jumping in the air because for some reason you move a lot faster when you're in the air than when you're not. Um, Finally, I just found out within the last year that there are leaderboards now on speedrun.com. So I was able to submit all my runs for that. And I plan to go back and improve all those times. I mapped out all the like possible segment times. I actually played it on an emulator earlier this year, and I'm like, all right, I have like this much time to save in all these different modes. So I'll go back to it. That's another one that I hope more people will will give a try, just because it is a pretty unique speed run in the sense that like you have to it's physically exhausting.
I do want
Like
to.
one of the game
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say like one of the game modes is it's like every obstacle, well it's like called super obstacle course or something, and so you're basically sprinting in place for like almost 3 minutes, or it's like 2 minutes or something like that, which doesn't sound exhausting, but when you're doing attempts of it and you're like practicing it and then you're doing this and you're constantly resetting, um, you get worn out really really quick. And so right now I've been improving my cardio health in real life, like jogging and doing all this stuff. And I'm going to come back to the power pad games with my better physical health
Hmm. Yeah.
and try to set some more records.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I do want to get a power pad just to have because it's just kind of silly, but I don't know. It'd be cool to
Yeah,
like at least play those games.
dude, yeah, I didn't know that you don't have one
Mm.
because I have extra ones here. And last time you were
Oh.
here, I could have given you one to take home. I ordered like three of them
Okay.
earlier this year because I was like, something's wrong with my power pad, but it's actually just the game itself. There's another mode on there called Skateboard Race,
Mm.
and the inputs are just kind of wonky on it. The way that you're like, you have to go from back and forth on the back two pads, and the game just screws up how it reads the inputs sometimes. And so this whole time I thought my power pad was messed up, but it's just the game.
Mm.
So
Well, there you
I
go.
have like two extra power pads now.
Well, I'll happily take one.
Yeah,
Figure that out because yeah, it'd just be cool to have one. It's
yeah,
been on my list of things to obtain just for fun. So because luckily I grew up with the Zapper. Because I know so the Power Pad there was like the triple thing where you got Duck Hunt, World Class Track Meet, Mario One, and it came with the Zapper and the pad, and that was like the new orange Zapper. My family
yeah.
had the gray Zapper dual cart
Oh,
thing.
okay.
So yeah, I've
Yeah,
never had that. So would
yeah.
be cool.
Our Nintendo came with the orange zapper
Hmm.
and the power pad.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you should get a pad and give it a try. I'm
Hmm.
hoping to get more people. Seriously, it's really fun to compete on those because it gets you in shape.
Hmm.
It gets you like really really running,
Could use
sweaty.
that. Yeah. Well, maybe not the sweaty part, but could use some exercise in my life. pretend I'm playing a game and actually exercise. That's how it is. So, do you think I got your entire speedrun history?
Yeah, I think so. Um,
Didn't miss any
there's other
games.
stuff. Well, I mentioned how I've learned all these games and I've
Yeah,
never
but never
done
done it.
runs of them. So I actually practiced Mario 2 a lot.
Yeah.
I did that for one of my 12-hour challenges. And
Oh, really?
I did attempts of it, but I never finished a run and then I just switched to a different game.
That game
So
is hard to finish, so I get it.
I think the reason I quit playing that one is because so a lot of the run you're holding down B
Hmm.
because you're like picking up an enemy or something and then running with Toad, and you have to hold down B the whole time and jump. For some reason, my B button kept releasing, and I was like, all right, like I need to switch my controller before I play this game again, and I just never went back to it.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's like I'm holding down B, but it just for some reason it kept releasing.
Hmm.
Like I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah, that's
Can't
fair.
deal with hardware issues.
Yeah, we're back on hardware issues. Yep.
Yeah,
Still can't deal
back to
with them.
hardware issues again.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Uh, well, anyway, since I guess we got all of that covered, wanted to talk about events. You've been to a few of them, right? Some GDQs and such.
Yeah, I've been to I don't know how many, at least uh at least 6 of them, somewhere between like 6 and 8. I actually have no idea. ESL speed.
Yeah, we talked about it. So I'm saying that we crossed that off the list by putting the drop denied FFC in. It's such a funny meme that no one knows about.
Yeah, I can't remember the first GDQ I went to. It might have been 2016. But it was fun to go there and just meet a lot of people. I think the first one I went to, I met all the Super Metroid people that were there, and I don't even know if I was. I think I had just started streaming, but I had only been streaming Mario World. Maybe I started speedrunning or streaming Super Metroid. I can't remember timelines, but yeah, like I made a lot of friends there that year, and then all the other years I went. I mostly just went to like meet new people and hang out with people, and I quit even really caring about most of the rest of the event that was going on. I used to always watch GDQ when it was on before I'd ever attended one, and then after I started attending them, the only runs that I watch are like either a friend or like a game that I really really like, and usually I would end up just like watching it from the room or something at the event rather than going down to the event because it's a lot more fun to just hang out with people, where you can talk and not be down there where I don't know, it's a bit more serious.
A
So it's
little bit.
cool to just be in a more like hangout setting.
Yeah. I like when they have the stream on a projector in the practice room so you can watch what's going on and still be
Yeah,
loud and whatever.
yeah. Like some of the most fun I've ever had at GDQ has been in practice room, like playing games, like playing Mario Battle Mode
Hmm.
and all that other stuff, playing casual games with people, and then just like hanging out in the rooms. It's not even like necessarily the event itself; it's just like the people at the event that
Hmm.
makes it so fun for me.
Yep. That's my favorite part as well. My first was SGQ 2018. So we would have met for the first time at AGDQ 2019. You only go to like the winter ones, right? Oh no,
It
you went
it
to
just
summer 2019.
depends.
Never mind. I'm wrong.
Yeah, I've been to. I was going to both of them, HEDQ and SGDQ, up until I think 2020 is the first time I didn't go to HEDQ,
Hmm.
and that was right before COVID.
Hmm.
And so I haven't attended one since then,
Yep.
but
That's how it goes.
might go to HEDQ next year.
Very
We'll
good.
see.
I hope so because I will be there, and so will a lot of people. It sounds like this is going to be a big event, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, nice.
Yeah, so many people I know are going, so I guess it's mainly because we literally haven't had a GDQ in person since 2020, so it's kind of a big deal for it to be back in its fullest form.
Yeah.
So should be good. Um, but you also got to do the Mario one, the first ever Mario one like simultaneous race thing in
Oh
Denver.
yeah, in Denver. Yeah, I did go to that. Yeah, I de-rusted. I got, you know, I practiced a bunch to make sure I can do sub 5 strats without issue. Um, and there were 8 of us playing, and even though I got last place, it was because I was like, I'm only going for sub 5,
Hmm.
and if anything goes wrong, like I don't care.
Yeah, that's fair.
So most of my runs, I haven't even gone back to watch the videos that were posted from it, but most of my runs died to like Hammer Bros, or maybe one died to Bowser. I can't remember,
Hmm.
but I nailed like all the pipe jumps and stuff. Didn't die to any pipe jumps, so that
There you
was
go.
I was happy with that.
Hmm. Yeah, I watched all those videos. They're so well made. Like, I know you don't like watching yourself, but just watching for like the editing they did on all of that is so cool. Like, I don't know what they're doing for the pace thing. Like, I was there, I got to see everything live and watch the stream, but the way it was like edited, so cool. So
I did see some of the first episode, but I haven't watched all the other ones on there. And yeah, the editing is really good.
hmm.
I'm excited to see whatever they do for pace,
Hmm.
and that might also inspire me to go to the next pace event.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm going to the one next month because I got 2J Warpless in actually, which is cool.
okay,
Um,
cool.
and I think I talked about this. I don't know if I should leak this, but I will. There was talks to have like a full more another day of Mario 1, but it for the LTA format, like their usual like do 9 hours of attempts and whoever just has the best time wins money or whatever. But apparently that fell through, so that's not happening. So I don't know what they're doing. I knew like Flibbity wasn't going to be able to set everything up anyway. I knew that wasn't happening. So hopefully that
Oh,
the
okay.
next pace does have the tech again, but I don't know that far in advance. I just know there won't be anything at this one other than like I think Jeremy's running Mario 1 Warpless, I'm running 2J Warpless. I think Storster's running Mario World. So I think Stewie's running Mario 3. There's like a whole like Mario 2D Mario block, which is cool. But it's not like the tournament style stuff. So should be cool. But yeah, pace is really nice if you a lot of people that like used to go to the old GDQs and remember how like tight knit and not crazy it was. That's what pace is now. It's a really good environment.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm um looking for in
Hmm.
a game event. So
Yeah.
I'll have to look into the next one. I can't go to the one next month, but
Yeah.
like the one after that, I'll have to look into.
It's a fun time. I I say definitely go, especially if they have a Mario 1 thing because that was super
Yeah,
sick. So, but I don't know
yeah.
if that'll happen.
It, I don't know if I'll ever play in it again. Maybe, but
Hmm? Oh, come on.
yeah, maybe.
Got to entice you
We'll see.
there. But yeah, events are fun. Again, those are my favorite things about speedrunning, so I like to talk about them and go to as many as them as I can, even though I'm going to run out of money very quickly. But it's fine. You know, it's
Yeah, that is
it's
another
worth it.
thing. It gets expensive, the flight and hotel, and
Hmm.
being gone from work for a week. Yeah,
Yeah,
it gets expensive.
yeah. It's time, but to me, it's worth it. Like it's always just worth it. But eventually, I won't be able to go because I won't be able to afford it. But hopefully, that day doesn't come. We'll see. Um,
Yeah.
Anyway, the thing I definitely want to make sure we talk about is your website because I think it is very important people know about it. So,
Okay. Yeah. So I have a website. It's somewes.com. Uh, I have mostly speedrunning related stuff on there right now. It started from when we used to retime runs. Uh, there was like a series of Bowser patterns that had been generated, and you could like do some math to figure out that like this pattern is this time. And I was just like, okay, I want it to be easier to do this, to where you can just like put in your time estimate and your wait time, and then just like see a list of them and then easily see what this is. So I originally got the website smb1time.com,
Mm.
and I think we used that for like a year. And I basically collected all this data, put up all these images, and made it fairly easy to use. It was just like a basic proof of concept, whatever.
Mm.
Then I started wanting to develop more things, or like I had all these other ideas that I wanted to do, but I didn't want to have to keep doing completely different projects and different websites and all this stuff. So I ended up just getting. I started putting all this stuff on somewes.com. And so, for example, I wanted to do a multi-stream viewer that works the way I want one to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I built one. I put it on somewes.com. I brought over SMB1 time stuff over to somewes.com, and I have several different things on there right now. One thing that a lot of people use is it's like a video timer. I think it's called frame count on there, which I'm probably going to change because it's not technically counting frames. It's counting video offset, like video position, and
Mm.
then computing like what the frames would be based on that information. Um, and every now and then I get a message from somebody who's like, "Oh, I use your site," and like that's the coolest thing to me, because I don't know how many people use my site or like what all people use it for, but there are a pretty good amount of people that use it, and
I use it
I have a lot
religiously.
of other. Yeah.
So.
I'm like, I can't imagine. Oh, I think the reason I finally made it and started moving stuff over there was because of the multi-stream. I got so frustrated
Mm-hmm.
with looking at Twitch's Who's Live page. I was like, I can't sort this by the name. Like, why can I not sort this? It's always, sorted by viewer count. And that was the first thing. It annoyed me for so many years that I was like, I'm just going to build my own thing that just, I can sort it and filter it however I want, make custom lists of people, like auto load streams and do all this cool stuff. So that's kind of what brought that about.
Mm-hmm.
My idea was I wanted to have this thing that I can have plugged up to, or like hooked up to a TV, and have it basically where it's like in presentation mode, where I can select which streams I want to auto load. I can have my site in full screen on the TV, and then the idea was that like as these streams were online, it comes up and you can set it to like auto rotate through the streams, which is like it's pretty cool. I never even use it for that. I usually just use it to load up a bunch of streams at once and then rotate through them on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a few other things on there, and there's like tons of stuff that isn't publicly visible on there yet, where it's just like a bunch of speedrunning data and like ways to look at leaderboards and like histories and speedrun stuff that it'll eventually be. I haven't worked on it in so long because life and
Mm-hmm.
lack of time. So I'll come back to that eventually and make a lot of that stuff public. It's all there and it's all like super cool, and I'm super
Mm-hmm.
excited about it. But it's just a matter of time. Working on a site and a project like that that's as big as that is. It's hard to do that after I've worked all day and I'm mentally exhausted. I don't always want to just keep doing that. And then sometimes on the weekend, it's like I don't want to also do what almost feels like work. um, but yeah, all
Mm-hmm.
that's there. I don't have ads on my site. I do it out of love for speedrunning for the community. It's like tools for people to use. I pay for all the servers and everything out of my pocket. I don't ask for money on there. Um, Pretty much, anything that I get from my stream. I don't get a lot from my stream because I don't stream, but it pays for at least part of some of that stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
free tool for everybody, and I wish I had time to do more on there, but
Mm-hmm.
there's more to come eventually.
But yeah, I use the frame counter for everything. I use the Mario 1 pattern finder for all Mario 1 related things. I use the multi stream all the time. So it is very good. And I recommend anyone at least give it a look. Like if you want to retime a run, like frame count a run, that I trust your site over anything else I've ever used. So
Yeah, it can. So here's the issue with it, and I do have this in the warning text, and if you look at the help page, there's like a warning. Um, your your final frame count is only going to be as accurate as the information that my site can get from
Mm-hmm.
it. And so what that means is, like, if you have a local recording that is 60 like a constant 60 fps, you should get accurate results. But if you're trying to retime, say, like a Twitch VOD on there, the way, like, for whatever reason, it's like a variable rate. So it might be like range anywhere from like 57 to 61, like everything in between. And the way that the tool works is it's doing offsets based on what you say the video FPS is. So if you say it's a flat 60 and it's like 59 point something crazy, or it's like changing, it's hard to get consistent results. And that's something that's just like completely out of my control. Um, so it's very good at getting really, really close to the final time. A lot of times you don't need an exact frame count. Um, but that's going to get you like really, really close to it on a Twitch VOD. But again, it's going to be more accurate if you have like a local file with a constant frame rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or you can use it like some people. I know Cosmic will actually just use a different software to get the frame count, and then enter the frame count on my site
Mm-hmm.
to get like the final time and all that, because it can just take a frame count and give you like a formatted uh, value, and then like a console timing version
Mm-hmm.
of that.
Yeah. I local record all my runs, so that's why it's easy for me to do it. So, but yeah, it's super useful. And then again, like the multi-stream is just fun to use because like other multi-stream sites aren't nearly as good or easy or can load up as many, or it's just the best multi-streamer I've seen. And then
And it's funny because it's like really just a proof of concept. It doesn't have any of the cool stuff that I have planned, like all the cool features that I have planned for the multi-stream.
mhm,
Um, if I get like another, say, like 2 to 3 days to work on just the multi-stream stuff, um, I'll probably rewrite a lot of it and add all these really cool features that I won't talk about them just yet, but
mhm.
there's a lot of really exciting things
Yep.
in the works.
I'm looking forward to the future of it. I've seen some sneak peeks, so
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. Um, so I guess I got everything I wanted to really talk about out of the way. I could just do the general Q&A towards the
All
end
right.
now, unless there's anything you think I've missed.
Um, no, I don't think so.
I'm doing my job
I think
well,
you've
is that right?
Yeah, I think you've got it all covered,
Let's
speedrunning related.
go. So good. So when it comes to watching speedruns, what's your go-to? Like games you don't run or people or whatever?
Uh, when it comes to, okay, so my favorite streams, so on my website, I
Mhm.
have, we were just talking about the multi-stream, I have like a favorites category,
Mhm.
where I can just filter it down to the people that I really love watching. Um, so you're of course in the favorites, because you're, I've followed you forever, and you're always playing like top level gameplay, which is that's what I want to see when I'm watching speedruns.
Hell yeah.
Um, Other people that are some of my favorite to watch right now are Shiny Zinni
Mhm.
doing Super Metroid. Like, he's streaming almost every single day, like super dedicated, putting in all this work. Um, I love watching Takate's stream when he's like as busy as I am with stuff, so he doesn't get to stream as much as he probably wants to. But he's still pushing for the Chip and Dale record, and he'll get it any day now. So that's another thing.
Mhm.
I'd love to shout out Toad. Toad isn't doing speed runs right now. He's been playing a lot of XCOM mods,
Mhm.
but it's Toad 22484. One of my favorite streamers for sure. He has like a big speedrun history. He's done like a million games. He's had tons of records. So he's definitely give him a follow and check him out. Um, I like watching a lot of Super Metroid streamers, like Zost and Oates. Oates just got his massive Super Metroid 80% record, so he's not like doing speedrun attempts at the moment. But I don't want to name like every single Super Metroid runner, but like Behemoth, he's been streaming a lot, so he's somebody that I've had on. Um,
All Super Metroid runners.
yeah, all Super Metroid runners
There you
are
go.
really cool. Um, I
Indeed.
love watching SM64 runs. There's a lot of top people who are running, and especially with the new carpetless discovery, like everybody's learning that and putting that into runs. So pretty much like any of the top runners, I'll go check out their streams. A lot of times they stream at hours that I can't watch, so I'll just go through the VOD and see how their runs went, look at their splits, and I might like watch some of it. If I'm up really late, sometimes I can catch a run or
Liam
but
Hours.
yeah, Liam Hours exactly. That's it. Like his stream goes live when I'm like getting in bed, so that's I don't always get to watch it when it's live.
Yeah.
But yeah, then like other Mario runners I watch. I love watching Mitch's stream, Mitch Flower Power. Uh, if Nifsky's about to set a record, I always tune in right when he sets a record. Day one of whatever he decides to do that day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I'm leaving out a ton of people, but
I think we got the
those,
general list.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, so I know you've been on a break, a little busy with stuff, but do you have like good future plans with streaming, speedrunning ideas you want to do?
Yeah, so the trade-off right now with speedrunning is I've been focusing a lot on my overall health. So I've been working up my I've been jogging, trying to improve my cardio health a lot. So I have to do a lot of PT. So we didn't talk about it much on here, but like I had spine surgery a few years ago after almost 20 years of just like being miserable from like spine issues that are out of my control. So I still have to do PT all the time for that. And so now that I haven't been able to jog without some sort of pain for close to 20 years. And now I'm finally able to, after, say a half hour of PT, I can go jog a couple miles. So that's like a big thing in my life right now. Um, this translates over to speedrunning for power pad games. But I'm bringing it up because it is also like a big time investment to do all this stuff, and so it's hard to always have time for streaming and speedrunning, especially if I want to do other stuff, whether it's like spend time with friends or play casual games or something. Like it's so hard sometimes to make time for actual speedruns. I mentioned my immediate list of like what my next plans are with speedrunning, where it's like SMB1 Warpless, Excite Bike, Marble Madness. I still have my list. Uh, if I don't ever get through it or whatever, I'm not gonna be upset about it. I think I'm a lot more passionate right now about building out a lot of the tools on my website that are for speedrunning, because I think what I've learned is I get just as much joy out of seeing somebody hit a goal, even if it's not me, especially if I helped in some way, like whether it's helping pave the way and like SMB1 any percent, or like with like walkathon, or like finding a strat here or there. I love doing that, and I love that I was able to build this tool that helps people like find Bowser patterns where they might use it to plan out their routes for stuff. I love seeing that happen. And so with a lot of the stuff that I have planned for the site, um, I would almost rather just do that than actually do speedrun attempts. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like I want to wrap up my immediate like actual speedrun plans, but I would also love to stream uh, just like the development of some of this stuff. And what I want to do for speedrunning, or like for my site, is uh, once I release some of the stuff that is still private, I want to have a way for people to uh, kind of like vote. Like they wouldn't necessarily be picking what I do next, but I would definitely prioritize certain things based on feedback from people,
Hmm.
because there are apparently at least like a couple hundred people that use my site for like retiming and stuff. And every now and then I'll get a message where it's like, hey, like I appreciate your site, or like, hey, like this thing's broken on your site, and I'll go fix it. But there's also, I'm sure, tons of things that people would love to see on the site that might not be on my radar or might not be a priority.
Hmm.
And so I'd love to hear from people about that,
Yep.
so I can continue to help out.
Yep. I again love the site, and I want to see what happens with it because it is so useful for me. So, if nothing else, you're at least helping out one person, but it sounds like you're helping out hundreds
Yeah,
of people. So, there you go. That's what I
apparently.
love to hear.
Yeah,
Um anyway, with that, I think I'm out of things to talk about. It sounds like we've covered everything. We good?
yeah.
Awesome. So, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap out here. Feel free to self-promote to your liking.
Self promote.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
my socials are listed right there on the stream, so
And there's
come hang out
this.
whenever. Shout out. There's
Yeah, Twitch
yeah.
again. Helpful Twitch feature. Thank God. They can at least do something,
How
right?
how do you is that what is that exclamation point shout out
Yeah.
something
Like slash shout out.
slash shout out?
Like
Oh,
if
okay,
you
okay,
slash raid, same kind of thing.
okay. That's cool.
It's awesome feature. I love to shout out the shout out because it's actually useful for this situation. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, thanks for
follow.
having me on.
Oh, thanks for being on. This was a good talk.
Yeah.
So yes, follow the socials. They are on stream and in the YouTube description. And if you want to follow me too, that's fine, I guess. Same, find them in the same places. Um, Twitch, watch on YouTube. YouTube, watch on Twitch. Yada yada yada. You get the gist. Um, and next week should be something else because I do this weekly. I gotta prepare ahead of time for Pace coming up in a month though. We'll figure it out. Until then, though, that'll be it for today. Thanks for watching and have a good one. See you, everyone.
See ya.